Hi everyone, I'm Savannah Grant, your VP SSP. I just want you guys to know that we're gonna start in a few seconds or minutes. So just sit tight and just let you hear it from me first. Welcome to the chemistry virtual talk session, surviving to help another survive. So thank you guys for coming out. Just sit tight and wait for a few, and then we're gonna begin. And I can promise you that tonight will be amazing. Thank you.
Hi guys, good night. How are you guys doing? I hope all is well. First of all, I hope school is not treating you guys too badly. No, I'm here with the entire team to engage you all into a talk session. I'm promising you a great evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We have some very great speakers that are anxious and waiting to speak to you all, and not to mention the prizes and the guest artists that we have lined up for you as the evening proceeds. ASAP, our things.
Hi, Michaelia. Hi, I'm actually doing great and I'm very excited for tonight. I know that you planned all of this, and initially, when I saw the roster, I was literally just amazed. I wish I could be on the other side to just see how everything's gonna play out, but I'm happy to be here to co host with you.
Great, great. So we're basically going to kick things off, and we'll have our speaker coming in just about now. So Sab will do the intro and all.
All right. So, everyone, I hope you guys are ready for our first speaker. She is a Caribbean and America's representative on the Youth Experts Tech for Health Youth Council. She's passionate about student service, networking, leadership, and youth empowerment. But us FST Pelicans will more know her as our Faculty of Science and Technology representative. So she is the head of the Faculty of Greatness. So, guys, join me in welcoming Miss Danielle Mullings, who will be speaking to us about learning in a virtual space, transforming and adapting to changes. Hi,
Great.
Danielle.
Greatness team, good afternoon, everybody. Happy to be here. And of course, Nikela, congratulations firstly for just getting this event up and running. And big up Sav and Daniel behind the scenes, of course, for also helping to put together this event and the entire chemistry subcommittee. All right. So that's the thanks and thing. Moving into learning in a virtual space and transforming and adapting to changes. I want to start off by saying that this is a difficult time for many people, and many of us will overlook that and still be trying to push ourselves to be just as productive or just as on top of everything as we were before. But the reality is that we are in the middle of a pandemic, and that's not something you take lightly. That affects everybody in a myriad of ways, whether, emotionally, mentally, emotionally, financially, socially, every other alley there is to describe the experience that you're having. So my first point for learning in a virtual space and being able to transform and adapt is to give yourself some leeway, right? You may not be as productive as you were before, and that is completely fine. What you need to do, and this is leading into my second tip, is to identify what is best for you during this time. For some people, they'll set a goal of maybe straight A's or straight B's or whatever it is. What you need to look at is what is the bigger picture of your life. What is it that you have to achieve? Maybe some of our roles at home have changed now. Many persons have them chores to do and all that jazz. You have to look at how all of your time is being spent, and then set a little bit of a goal in each of those main priority areas for how you go forward. In terms of academics, I think it's very important to identify, like, what time do you work best? Like, are you a night person? Is that when the information connects? Or are you a morning person? Or are you a midday person? Etc. etc. You need to identify what is the best time for you, and then you work from there. Because sometimes we're looking at other people and their schedules, and that not gonna work for us because we're not them. We're all individual and very unique persons. I personally like to study at 1 a.m. 1 a.m. to 3 a.m., all the information stick. You see, if I study at 1 p.m., no, going at the exam and can't do no jokes. But what I'm saying is you need to identify what is best for you, because at the end of the day, you can watch other people as much as you want. But if you don't know what works for you, what are you going to do about it? The next suggestion I have is that I believe it's important to still network and make connections with your peers and your lecturers, right? Because this pandemic will, last for so long. It will be going on for so long. We don't know how long, but let's say it's a year or so on. You still have a life after the pandemic to get back to, or to continue. And so a huge component of that is going to be, how do you manage your time in terms of balancing your current needs with the future. And a part of your future and your present as well is your network and how you're able to curate and build that. And so I believe it's extremely important to still try and maintain some sort of relationship with your peers, especially in the Faculty of Greatness, because literally in a year, in 2 years or 5 years, call it, all the persons that you're going to school with are going to transition to the workplace. Some of them may be CEOs, some are already entrepreneurs. Some of those businesses that you see today are going to become big in another 5 years. And so it's important to maintain that network. And your lecturers, especially in the Faculty of Greatness, are working on some groundbreaking research projects. I really and truly recommend that you have a good rapport and good relationship with your lecturers. And also, I think, give them leeway as well. You know how this is a rough time for you? It's also a rough time for your lecturers. It's also a rough time for everybody overall. And so, some of them may not have grown up in an IT savvy world. Some of them, may not have as much of that digital literacy as you may have. So I'd say ensure that you're building a rapport. If they make a mistake, they don't know how to do something in Zoom or Blackboard Collaborate, etc., give them space to learn and grow just as much as you're giving yourself space to learn and grow. The next tip I have is to have a workspace at home. I know this is not possible for everybody because it's not ideal. Your home is not always ideal to be doing work from. But if you can set up a little space, even if it's the couch or whatnot, just somewhere that you routinely go each day to go and get some work done, that can help, because sometimes you feel like the work never ends because you're at home all day and your home becomes your workplace. But I think it's good to separate, especially where you sleep from where you work, because you just drop into a nap sometimes, especially if you work on your bed or so on. So if it is possible for you, see if you can separate your workspace from like your home space, if you will. Yeah, and the next tip I have is to take a break, breathe, allow yourself to decompress and rest, because that is just as important as everything else that you do. Life is a balance. You're still a human and you have to allow yourself to be human. Sometimes you need to sleep. Sometimes you need exercise and you need, to eat well, etc., etc. Like, it's hard for you to keep going and keep pushing for an entire semester if you don't have that focus on balance, as the SciTech guide says. So if you guys want more tips on leadership, how to get started, how to access boss, etc., all of that is in the SciTech guide, which the PCC team and the PRO team have worked. Like everybody as well in contributing information for it. But that's, again, another resource that is there at your fingertips and that you can access and get valuable information from. So those are my tips. I know I have about, I think, 5 minutes or so on left. But I wanted to leave that open if there were any questions that persons had. So while I speak on my last tip, I'll allow you guys to send in questions. And then once any of them come up on screen, then I'll answer. But yeah, so send in some questions. The last tip I had is to still try and be confident. To still walk with your head high. I always say chin up and fix your crown, right? Whether you're a king or a queen or anything else, right? I think it's important for persons to remember that, again, we're all going through a difficult time. A pandemic is not by any means normal, and it affects all of us in very, very different ways. And so I just think it's extremely important for you to remember that no one grade, no one life experience, no one, maybe a friendship that never worked out or this or that, no one experience will ever define you. Like, ever. You are always able to build back and to become something different, to transform, to be whoever you want to be at any point in time. So regardless of if one situation doesn't go the way you want it to, that doesn't mean that you cannot get back up and shine and, again, chin up and fix your crown. So yeah, those are my main tips there for learning in a virtual space, transforming and adapting to changes. And if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer. How do you stay motivated during this time? All right, great question. I feel like each day brings a different range of experiences, if you will. Like, some days are great, and you're like, yeah, I'm on top of my game, I'm getting all my work done. And then the next day, you just sleep it out, or you sleep out half of it. So again, giving yourself grace, because it's not always going to be perfect. But in terms of actively staying motivated, I think it's important to always know where you are in relation to where you want to be, right? So let's just say you didn't have a great day today. You didn't get as much work done. I think it's important to know what work you didn't get done in the first place, right? So that you can then make a strategy and plan and say, all right, well, tomorrow I will add XYZ to my plate, or this is a focus that I need to have going forward. Motivation is variable, right? Because it depends on your emotions and how you feel. What you need is more consistency, right? Consistency and priority, because you need to identify what is my focus right now. And my focus for today can change by tomorrow, right? Because maybe today it is that I need to get this lab done, or for example, I do some film classes as well. Maybe there's something I'm missing there that I need to incorporate for tomorrow. But I can only do that if I know what I've missed. So for me, even if I do miss something, I at least note it and have it recorded so I know when I can come back. Yeah. There's any other question? How active have you been since online school? I've probably been more active than normal. One, running this FST Guild Committee is a lot of work, especially in trying to support 3,000 students and trying to support all the different committees that are here. And things will pop up from here to here and there. And I think one thing I've recognized from that is the importance of one time for yourself. I think so you can't always be on all the time answering everybody. You have to have a set time where you just say, all right, from this time to this time I'll do this. And for me that may manifest in WhatsApp messages, but for someone else maybe that's emails coming in or so on. I remember reading an article and it said, your emails are a to-do list from other people, right? But the question being, what is your to-do list for you, right? That individual sense of what's your purpose and your navigation and where you're trying to get to. So I think that's well, to answer your question, I've been probably more active because of guild committee related stuff, as well as I'm engaged in a lot of other activities outside of the faculty. As Savannah would have mentioned in the intro, I am the Caribbean and Americas rep for a global youth tech council called Young Experts Tech for Health. So I'm doing speaking engagements there. I'm the co-chair on the Resource and Investment Circle. I'm an IBMZ ambassador soon. So a lot of things just building and just creating. Yeah. One more question, I think I have. What do you think is the best advice for freshers moving forward? All right, my advice is always to stay authentic. It is always to be, don't try to be nobody else. Like, there's so many other people. Like, I feel as though your unique value proposition is to be who you are, right? And if you like games, if you like whatever it is, like, I just feel like passion and purpose is one of those most important things that separates and distinguishes a person. You can tell when somebody is invested in something and they love to do it, right? Like, I love leading FSTGC. I love leadership itself. And it gets difficult sometimes, and I said to myself, why am I doing this? But you remember your passion and purpose at the end of the day, and I think that's important. So best advice for freshers, remember your purpose, your why, and stay authentic to what you love, what your passions are, etc., etc., and that will help propel you forward. Do I prefer online school? I by no means prefer online school. I like a mix, to be honest. I don't mind if 2 of my classes are online and the rest are face to face. But I'm that student that likes to raise their hand in class and then say, "Sir, what do you think about XYZ?" and then go up and talk to the lecturer afterwards. So because of that, like, I don't have that as much in the online space. I can, and then sometimes I'd be like, "Oh, let me just go make a snack." And then you just miss a class. You know what I mean? Like, because you're at home, it's this weird dynamic, and it's something we're all adjusting to still. But that comes back to the point of giving yourself grace and allowing yourself to just not beating up yourself if it doesn't work out the way you want to all the time. All right. How do we make the most of our uni experience given the online modality at this time? I think what the online modality gives, and this may be different from person to person, but I think it gives us a little bit more time to kind of structure a day. And I know that may not be for everybody because, not everybody has uninterrupted access to internet or so on. But I think it does give us a little bit more time. We don't have to commute anymore. That's not a barrier anymore, or taking up some of our time. And I think it really is a chance for us to reflect on what we're grateful for. I think it gives us more family time. And yeah, we may get, annoyed or upset sometimes with parents or whomever you live with. But at the end of the day, we do have more family time, and that is a blessing because you only have X amount of time with your family or whomever it is that you live with. So I think that's a big part that we should be grateful for. And I think that just going forward, it's about gratitude. It's about what can I do in this space from an academic or so on perspective. I think you can email your lecturers and try and build that network same way. Everybody seems to like the online chat or so on. I see some interesting messages in those Blackboard Collaborate chat. But it's another way to interact, and I think it's the way of the world moving forward. And I think if we start to get on top of it now, it will help us in the future, because maybe this is the future of work as well, remote work. So I see I'm over time. I don't know if I have time for one more question. All right, cool. How do you cope with the lack of socialization? Yeah, so what I do with my friends, I mean, we stopped now, but it helped me a lot during summer. we would have like weekly check-in sessions with each other. We just go on Zoom and just vibe and just talk. And I think that helped a lot. Right now, though, I try to ensure that I go out at least once a week or so. Or it may not always work out, but I try and go out at least once a week just so that I remember what the outside world looks like. Because I feel like as a human being who has a mental and psychosocial aspect to you, staying at home in one room just look on the just looking at the computer all day every day is harmful to your mental health. So you have to take a break and you have to go out and call up your friends, ask what they're doing. I just had a session talking to someone that I find extremely inspiring. I just messaged them and said, "Yo, would you be willing to do a Zoom call? Just generally talking and networking." So you can still network. You have to be more intentional about it because you're not going past the person on the way to Auntie Jackie and buying a patty. You have to intentionally reach out to the persons now. So that's how you deal with the lack of socialization. All right, you guys can tell me if I'm out of time or so on. I think I am. Will the fail minus penalty? I'm not sure about that as yet. I haven't heard anything from the university regarding that. But I'm sure once there is a decision made, that it will be released. Hey, Sav.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Hey, Dan, that was excellent. Well, as usual, your presentations are always excellent. I like what you said actually, especially about taking a break. A lot of people think that, oh, I'm home, so I don't need a break. It's not really
Mm-hmm.
school. But if you're constantly looking at the screen and you're constantly just watching recordings and in class, you might not realize it, but you do need a break. But physically, as you
Exactly.
said, you can't just be
Mm-hmm.
looking at the screen 24/7. And mentally, you can't just be like in and out watching recordings, watching classes, and it gets to you sometimes. You have to realize and step back. So I like that you said that because I don't think everybody was like thinking about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, and I especially like the part where she was talking about remember your passion, people. It is important to remember your passion and your purpose because sometimes we get so carried away with the affiliations around us that we forget our true
True.
purposes. So in this lifetime, it is essential to know what you're about. I'm not saying that you can't explore other things because exploring is quite important as well, but you need to know that, okay, I'm going to do this, I need to get this done by such and such a time, and so
Mm-hmm.
forth. That is very important as well. So
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Daniel was out here talking pure facts, and I love that. I saw that you guys were killing the comment section, and I was saying, "Wait, man, they're not
Yes.
going to kill any questions for the other speakers." I really love that, Daniel. Thank you.
All right, thank you guys so much for having me. And again, big up yourself, Michaela. This is an amazing event, and I think the students will benefit a lot. All right. Bye,
Great,
guys.
thank you as
Bye,
well.
Dan. All right. So,
Beam me
Sabana,
up.
what an interesting way to start.
yeah. So, while
Started
you
off on
guys
a high pitch.
I love it. While you guys are here in the comment section, I want to just pitch two events to you guys in the meantime. So I'm assuming that most or all of you are in the Faculty of Greatness, SciTech. So I hope you guys know of our two main events coming up. So on Friday we have Chill, yes, hosted by our lovely CEAC, Gabrielle Jones. I'm not sure if she's in the comments right now, but I see her friends in the comments. So I just want to say hi to everyone. So it's this week Friday from 4:30 to 6 p.m. And I'm sure that all of you guys will be there, tuned in and ready to just have fun with us. It's gonna be a talent show. It's gonna be a little party. It's gonna be everything, guys. You don't listen to me. You don't want to miss it. You don't want to be on the end where you see the snaps after and the pictures after. Come and join us on the IG live this week Friday at 4:30 p.m. Yes, and then right up, guys. You know that guys, back to back. But you see, we have this today. We have Chill Friday. There's another thing Saturday. We have the Health and Wellness Seminar. So we're looking at all branches of the student life. So Nikela hosted this beautiful event tonight to keep us informed. Our CEAC is hosting the event on Friday to keep us entertained and relaxed. You know that we can take a step back and relax a little bit, like Daniel said. And then on Saturday, we're going to come back in with the mental health awareness. Yes, because while we want to have fun and we want to keep up with the academics, you must also be aware of your mental health. And I
True.
want you guys to know that the entire committee this year is they're so interested in and they're so also what I'm looking for. They just want everyone to be aware of your mental state. So the health and wellness seminar is a little introduction back into school life. I know that we've already been introduced and it's like the third week now, but we just want to make sure everybody is okay. We want to see where you're at. We want to give you some tips how to cope during the pandemic. Daniel said that she gets to go at least once a week. Not everyone gets to do that. I can say definitely I don't go out once a week. I think the last time I went out was like July. So yes, while I'm okay with that because I can like call my friends and talk to them. Not everyone is okay with that. Some people need like that face-to-face interaction or to like be outside in nature and everything. So some people might not be coping as well as others. So come out Saturday, we'll give you some tips on how to cope with that, some tips on how to cope with online learning, just a big discussion and tips overall. I think it's gonna be very beneficial. I don't know if you guys have been to our previous events, but I can tell you, ask anyone that has been, you don't go to an FST event without gaining something afterwards. So this will be no different. I can tell you, you guys, you're here for like 10 minutes and I know that you learned enough already. See the comments blowing up. I want to do a little shout out in the meantime. Konikela said you guys were blowing it up and I love it. So I'm seeing Clee Monique, hi. Risan Ford, hi. Kimmy, hi. I see Rashawn, hi Rashawn. Who else is in the call? I see Skeville Lion. Hi, Skeville. Skeville said that they will be at Chill. Pon my eyelash. That's right. Make sure that you're at Chill this week, Friday. Be there or be square. Yes. Because you're not around. You get it? I. So back to the comment section. Hi, Shariana. Hi, Michaela. Michaela, you see anybody from chemistry? I don't know who is from which and which department, but I want a special shout out to the chemistry people. You know anybody tuned in now?
Yes, I saw Risan not too long ago. Risan is
Yeah.
actually on the chemistry subcommittee. I know Clementine
Okay.
does chemistry as well. Michaela, I think Sherian does as well.
Yeah.
Rashawn, Nadisha, she's around the biochem, but she's chem nonetheless.
I love it. I love it. I'm glad that you guys are out here supporting your chem rep. Listen to me. Anybody on the FST Guild committee can tell you that your rep is working for you. If it's somebody that you can say on the committee that is constantly working, constantly putting out content, whether it's notices, whether it's just doing things in the background to talk to lecturers, trust me, guys, she is working. Your vote did not go to waste on this young lady. She is here to get things done, and that you see all of this. Daniel Mullins spoke before. We know, but I'm not gonna ruin the surprise. But we have a lot of guest speakers, and Nicola put together all of this, and I'm sure that you guys are gonna love it. I am literally just in awe. I keep saying it, but Nicola, I love everything that you're doing. Honestly,
Thank you,
I
thank
love it.
you. Guys, I
Um,
will sleep well tonight. I'm seeing Romaine and Kyra as
Kyra, hi Kyra.
well in the section. I'm going to sleep well tonight. Shout out to you guys as well. Romaine and Kyra Club. I think Kyra
Resign
is the
said yes.
president and
You
Romaine
must
is the
be.
PR. So big up, guys.
Thank you for coming out, guys. Oh my God, I know Kyra. I work closely with Kyra because you know I'm the VP SSP, and I can tell you guys that Kyra, it's like chemistry just have a secret sauce over there in the department because Michaela is over there
Definitely.
excellent as the rep. Kyra is over there killing the game. I went to you guys Club Fusion meeting, and trust me, Kyra, you are a natural host. I love it. It was so engaging. I don't do chemistry. I don't know anything about chemistry. The last time I did chemistry was like fifth form, so that can tell you. And it wasn't my strongest subject, but I went and I was actually just thoroughly engaged. You guys were speaking about these amazing experiments. I tell you already now, I want to be there when they do the smoke bomb experiment. If you do the elephant toothpaste one again, listen, tell me. I want to be there. I'm seeing the videos and I just love it so much. Kyra said, big up to the FST committee. That's right. That's right. Yes, so guys, if you're in the chemistry department, and even if you're not, check out her comment is on the screen now below me. Yes, this is Kyra Taylor, your Chemistry Society president for 2020-2021. So go on Thursday and check out her club, whether you're in chemistry or not. I told you already, I'm not in chemistry. I don't know anything about chemistry, but it's engaging, guys, and it's very interesting to learn about something that's outside your department. It might be just something that you learn, oh, I'm actually interested in this, but I didn't know. So expose yourself to new things, expose yourself to different departments, different majors, different interests, and maybe you can find a new passion. Remember, Nicola spoke to you about a passion before. Let's say your passion is something that has to do, like you have to do it physically, so you have to be outside. So you're just indoors now and you feel stuck and you're just there. Explore these different clubs and maybe you can find a new passion. Maybe your passion is with chemistry. You never know. You never know. Yeah. So I encourage you guys to do that. Romaine, so you said Romaine is the VP, right?
Is the PRO. You can
The
comment
PRO.
in the comment section if I'm wrong. I think he is.
I see you, man, Romaine Graham. He said, who you think going to who you think going to make that bomb Prezi was talking about? I don't know who going to make it, but I want to see it. I know I want to see it. So on the screen now, as Nicola said, this is Romaine Graham, the Chemistry Society PRO. Shout out to you as well. As I said before, you guys are killing the game and we just started. Literally loved it. Yes. And I saw you guys graphics too on Instagram. You have it, Romaine? You have it. Big up yourself, honestly. Tashi Gibson says, big up my department, rep chemistry. That's right, guys. Show some love for Nikeli. Oh my God. Oh, no, no.
Definitely, guys. I needed to save some of this excitement because we're going to put on the next speaker just about now.
All right. All right. So,
So, this lady is known by all. She's selfless and has played a major role in service to students and young people in general. She is bringing forth changes to the youth populace. She is the immediate past UIMONA Guild president and is currently a student representative rights spokesperson at Christina Williams.
Okay, I'm here. Let
yes,
me
you're
Yes,
here.
you
see if my
are. Your
camera is going
camera
to
is off.
work. Right, my camera is not, let me see. My camera is not the best right now, so I hope it works for the
We'll see if
duration
it
of
goes.
my presentation. I hope it
Mhm.
works. Oh yeah, and for those who are probably wondering where's the afro that they know Christina usually has.
Yes. Yes.
She's resting, guys. She's resting. I needed her to rest for a little bit. But let me first big up faculty and coming. Right, I think we're back, right? Inviting me to speak here this evening. I felt very humbled when I saw the presentation because I'm not a science student. I never did any kind of science electives while I was at UE. I stopped doing sciences from ninth grade. As soon as I could get away from it, I got away from it in high school. So I did completely social science and humanities subjects while I was in high school. So I was like, I wonder why them choose me because I don't have no kind of experience in that space. But when I looked at the topic and it talks about surviving to help each other survive, which is a general topic for your series, I said to myself, I can understand why they would ask me because I was president during a very critical period during, I would say, university history when COVID would have just started and we had students who had to survive and had to complete the semester. However, my specific topic today is about dreaming big, finishing university and succeeding despite adversities that may arise. And I had to read it because it's a little long, but I'm just going to dub the entire thing in one little line. Not only to survive, but to thrive. How can you thrive instead of just to survive or just surviving? And even though the theme is that, surviving to help another survive. I'm not trying to throw any shade or anything, but I think it's important for us to aspire to not only want to survive, but to also want to thrive and to be your best selves for this academic year. So the first thing I want to talk about in terms of how you can thrive for the I'm gonna just focus on for the year. I won't even say overall, just for the academic year. The first thing you want to do is you want to admit what your limitations are, and it comes through reflection. Now, those limitations may be practical and tangible things like me have internet on my yard. Right now, as you may see, I am sitting inside. So that's a quiet zone. I'm sitting inside the study room, and I should not be talking so loudly, but I had to because I have to present. And the reason for that is because currently I don't have Wi-Fi where I am. And so that is one of my limitations for this semester. I don't have Wi-Fi in my room where I'm currently staying, and so I have to utilize a more public and open facility to, be able to facilitate my learning and sessions like these. That's one of my limitations, and that may be one of your limitations as well. Some of you maybe have limitations of not having a device or reliable device or having reliable internet or a cadre of different things. Another limitation some of you may have is, it's COVID-19 and family get laid off, or you never get to take the loan and never get to go up on the work and travel program, and those real issues. And so you're limited in terms of having finances readily to pay for your academic year. It's another limitation. For some of you, it may be a limitation of just more personal, emotional, and psychosocial issues. You may be anxious about the fact that you're going through this another level or another stage of isolation, because most of us would have gone online for last semester, whether you're a high school student or as a returning university student. But then you're probably thinking, I'm going to be going back to university. I'm going to be going to university. And so I must be able to see my friends and have physical school. But then you realize that not really happening. You is like, no, overnight will actually be doing online school for the rest of the semester. So as a result, you need to have that reflection with self and saying, what are my limitations for this year? The only way you can triumph over fear, the only way in which you can handle limitations, to manage them effectively and to, I would say, survive, to thrive, is that you need to admit to yourself, what my problem, what am I going to face this semester, and to find ways to deal with them. A quick suggestion I've seen where actually an accident, or you can borrow the tablets if you don't have a device. That's one thing. I know that Digital, for example, has an education plan that you can utilize if you don't have Wi-Fi. I'm just giving you 2 things on top of my head of ways in which you can help to maneuver and manage those kind of adversities. But let's move now to more on campus in the sense of you're in university now and you're facing adversity. How can you thrive from that? What I would say to you is that don't use online school as an excuse not to get involved. It's the easiest thing, guys, to lay down in your bed all day and step on Netflix. So you go class, if you go class, because some of us don't go class. I know that for a fact. Some of us not going to class because we're saying, well, some of us are saying, well, it's online school. I can watch the recorded versions when I'm ready. I don't have to go to class live. And so you stay in bed and you watch Netflix or you play PUBG or whatever it is you don't like to do. My camera is going in and out. My apologies. Don't use online school to say, oh, I'm not going to get involved. Right now, and I have to plug it because I'm the one in charge of it, the university has launched this initiative called the Change Makers Club. And what it does, it provides opportunities for students to be placed, whether physically or virtually, at places where they can volunteer or work on advocacy initiatives. We have about 15 different, I would say, organizations that we're working with. They deal with health, They deal with education, they deal with social groups that are marginalized and vulnerable, a wide variety of different issues that you can work on. And this actually goes on your transcript if you complete the required number of hours, as well as attend the workshops that we have. And I'm the one in charge of it. So if you want to see my face and get my vibes, I don't know, maybe you want to become a part of that, but in a serious way, that's just one of the many things that you can become involved in. I know that your subcommittee chemistry, of course, will keep you engaged to tell you other opportunities. Daniel Mullins and our team as well for the wider FST family will tell you about other opportunities. And then you have even the wider university will tell you about other opportunities as well in which you can get involved in a virtual sense. You don't have to feel like you have to come to campus involved, but just repeat it one last in your bed, right? And don't get involved. Watch maybe Netflix, watch off all of the series them, and don't get involved, because when you finish, whether it's an online school or physical school, you'll have to apply for a job, and you will need to have something on your resume aside from a degree. So please make use of these opportunities, even though you may be at home as a student. Then about it. Well, Blackboard Collaborate to be specific. So I would highly suggest that you'd miss class for whatever reason, that you go in and you engage with the recorded sessions. You cannot, even no matter how involved you are. I was guild president, yeah. And it's funny because I got a call from the principal's office earlier this week. Actually, it's not the principal office, the campus registrar's office. And the lady said she was going through my report that I submitted as guild president for last year because they wanted to, reconcile some records and stuff like that. And she said when she saw the amount of work that I did as guild president and my team overall did, and she looked, she just said she was so, I would say, I think she used the word, she was so, not impressed. She was so curious that she went to look at my grades. And she said she was surprised to see that I made the dean's list. And I was a little bit like, what do you mean by she's surprised? But then I think about it. Many times as student leaders, or even just students, we tend to forget about the importance of that the degree comes first and everything else comes after. So even though I may be the poster child for involvement on campus, and I will always talk about getting involved, I must also talk about the fact that in order for you to thrive over adversities, you also have to ensure that you put in the work as a student. And yes, there are many challenges. Mrs. Sass broke down must about 10 times just for September alone, right? I'm seeing students having issues with registration. I am in a group with first years who are trying to get into the law program, and a lot of them are going to classes and they're not registered. Like I'm telling you, like half of the class in the first year stream for law, they're not registered. And you'd be like, so how do I go class? These students are so powered up and enthusiastic about starting school and getting involved and excelling that they have actually asked the lecturers to send them the links, guest links, so that they can access the material until they become registered. Because Kate just come out yesterday, so they weren't able to be registered as a result. And despite that, these students have started school from September 7th and have been going to classes. So what is your excuse? Right? What is your excuse? I would strongly suggest that even though you may find yourself with challenges around devices, around internet, ask for help. And when you get the help, make use of it to ensure that you engage with the material. The other thing I want to talk about really quickly as well is the importance of, and this I think is my final point, the importance of getting involved outside of the university. Let me use Daniel Mullins as an example. For those of you who are familiar with Daniel Mullins, who's is your guild rep for your faculty. Daniel doesn't just have guild rep under her belt as an involvement. Daniel has been very involved. Oh, we're pronouncing it properly, Daniel is a Daniel, but let me just use Miss Mullins. Miss Mullins know the runnings. She actually has a wide number of different involvements under her belt, aside from just being on the guild and even just, one of those very brilliant students who you see the other day get like a perfect GPA for her faculty. She's so much more than that. And it's because Daniel has been able to balance not just on-campus involvements and academics, but also off-campus involvements. Because most of you may be disconnected from campus right now, you may feel more compelled to seek out other opportunities off campus. And if that makes you most comfortable, I would not say no. So while you're balancing your academics, I would also suggest that you also get involved off campus. If you can volunteer virtually, do so. If you can volunteer in terms of internships that are offered virtually, do so. Because in order for you to be the consummate graduate, not just for the University of the West Indies, Mona, but as a global citizen, as a regional citizen, you need to ensure that you are competitive. And so if you want to rise above, despite all happening in 2020, look at that. Gabriela Morris, who served on my guild while I was president, she was first vice president. She's now the youngest senator Jamaica has ever seen. Right? Then we see internationally Zendaya just became the youngest actress to win leading actress for I think it was in the Emmys, right? And you're seeing where 2020 is kind of shady. It's not the best year to be in per se, but it has provided opportunities for young people. But the only way that you can rise above the adversities that we're talking about in order to survive and to also thrive, you have to ensure that you go after opportunities that may in sometimes seem impossible. I will share a story with you really quickly to end off my presentation. So I am trying to get into international affairs. That's my goal. I want to become an international humanitarian. And there's a scholarship being offered by the UN, UN, United Nations. And they offered a scholarship. They're offering 10 scholarships for this region. So it's an open scholarship for the world, but they're offering 10 for the Latin American, Caribbean region. And they wanted specialists, experts, CEOs, executive directors, head of foundations. That's what they wanted, And when I read the profile, I'm like, well, I mean, I get this because I just to kill president. Yes, I have 10 years of experience as an advocate, but never been like a executive director because this year is a year of first, and I think I should try. I applied and I never get through. And I was like, well, okay, really kind of expect that. But guess what? Because I did my best in that application and I wrote everything that I did and what I wanted to accomplish, the UN actually went back to the sponsors and said, we want this young lady. She's just 22. Yeah, she's young and thing, and she not have no big title yet and whatever, but we want her to get her a scholarship. So they actually drafted me in at the end to say, we're going to give you a chance at this scholarship. So now I'm actually enrolled in the UN University while I'm still here at UWI. So I'm doing 2 programs simultaneously. And that, because the university is not really open like that to the public, it gives me an experience that is actually, I would say, I'm like a 1% in the world to say I've been able to attend the UN University, even though it will be online. But that is my story to explain to you that challenge yourself to go for things that are unexpected and in some ways even seem impossible. Because just like how we can find ourselves having so many unprecedented things in 2020, your success can also be unprecedented as well. So if you want to rise above adversities, if you want to not just survive, but also thrive, you have to get up out of your bed, stop watching up on Netflix them, and access opportunities be out there. I know you may not get it the first time or even the second time or even the third time, but sometimes even just the opportunity of applying, being interviewed will go a long way in preparing you for the world that I'm sure you want to take on. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for listening, and I'm open to any questions that you may have. I'm seeing a question. Should I go ahead and answer, moderator?
Yes, you should. The
Okay.
questions will be thrown out now.
All right, thank you. So Shamar says, what are other ways you can stay well-rounded or active while at home? All right. So I'm wondering what he means by stay well rounded or active, because active could mean, you go exercise. So I'm wondering which active is he speaking of, but I'm going to assume that he's referring to I would guess extracurricular activities. So as I said before, and I'm plugging it again, if you want to get active, whether you want to do voluntary work or you want to do more advocacy type initiatives, we have a program called the Change Makers Club that I am in charge of, but it's actually a university program. And we place you with the different bodies that you may want to work with, excuse me. And once you have completed the amount of hours, as well as attend the workshops, it will add it to your transcript, and you'll have a year of, as we call it, civic engagement and service learning. So that's one way. And there's also other ways, which I'm sure your committee will tell you about. They may be sending their own virtual clubs that they're having via Zoom. That's another way. Another way as well is that you can Google, like literally, let me give you two websites that you can use. It's called Youth Up. That's one. Another one is called Opportunity Desk. And what I have done is that I've scoped out these two websites since I've been at high school, where they actually provide a wide range of different opportunities that you can apply for. And if you get through, you could get involved. So Youth Up and Opportunity Desk. And I'm actually seeing where the World Health Organization right now is actually opening
I think Christina is losing connection. I'm not sure. Sav, you're here with me?
Yeah, man, Nikayla, I'm here with you. I think she lost connection, but I'm so happy that she got most of the point. Well, all the points out of the way. I enjoyed that so much.
Yes, I did as well, and I wanted to make a quick comment. She spoke about thriving, and I think that tied in with Daniel's presentation about talking about being passionate and purposeful, because because she's thriving and she knows her purpose and she has a passion for the things she do. Eventually, other people see her purpose and her passion, and that is why she was able to land that scholarship. Congratulations, Christina! And
Thank you
guys,
so much.
please ensure that you check out the Change Makers Club.
All
Yes.
right. Thank you so much, ladies. You're doing an excellent job hosting, and I also wish you the best for the academic semester.
Thank you,
Thank you
Christina.
as
Same to
well.
you.
Bye bye.
All right, Sav, I turn over to you to introduce our next speaker.
All right, guys. So that's two speakers down, and I know that you guys thoroughly enjoyed it. So, are you ready for the next one? Chem students, this is specifically for you. So, now we're going to be introducing Dr. Donna Minot Cates. Yes, this lady is quite easy to talk to and is very passionate about student growth. She is the head of the chemistry department, and she is also a chemistry lecturer. So most of the students would have previously encountered her if you guys did a major or a minor in food chemistry. So Dr. Minot Case is going to speak to us about why chemistry is an important field of study and why studying chemistry should be normalized. So guys, get ready. I see you've joined us, Dr. Minot. Thank you for being here, and I'll now turn over to you.
Good evening, and thank you, Savannah. Thank you for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to address the students. Good evening, everyone. I am happy to be here. This is a new role for me, and I'm not so accustomed to being streamed live and addressing persons. I really like the face to face interaction. But I've been given the task this evening to talk to you about why is chemistry an important field of study, and why studying chemistry should be normalized and appreciated more in today's society? Now, as students of chemistry, you should all recognize that chemistry is considered the central science. All things are made of matter, even the invisible air that we breathe. And chemistry is not only the study of the composition of matter, but chemistry looks at the properties of matter, how matter reacts and responds, and therefore how it can be applied. In fact, everything about matter matters to the chemist. We find chemistry everywhere. When you look around in agriculture, atmospheric science, chemical engineering, the environment, solid state physics, forensic science, biochemistry, medicine, to name a few. But how important really is this field of study? Why do we need to do more? Why do you need to do more than to do well in CAPE chemistry or introductory chemistry so that you can get into medicine? Because we in chemistry do recognize that a lot of our students that are in our department, that's their ultimate aim. Well, without chemistry, many of the advances that we appreciate now and the comforts that we currently experience in our modern world would not be. Abstracting from the Royal Society of Chemistry's website, I want to direct your attention to inventions that have changed the world. Number one, Sir Alexander Fleming noticed in 1928 that there was mold growing on his petri dishes and it was preventing the growth of bacteria. Out of that, just in time for World War II, a group of chemists led by Howard Florey was able to isolate usable quantities of penicillin so that it could be used to treat various illnesses during that period. And that was subsequently scaled up by Margaret Rousseau. Penicillin went on thereafter to save millions of lives. Chemists have looked at it, they have looked at its structure, they have modified it to make improved antibiotics and materials that have better properties and less side effects. So that's my first case. Case number two, the Haber wash process. This was developed a long time ago, over a century ago, and looked at capturing the relatively inert nitrogen in our atmosphere. And we know that nitrogen is the most prevalent material in the atmosphere. Capturing that and converting it to a usable component, ammonia, which is the basis for most of our fertilizers. And in so doing, we were able to revolutionize the field of agriculture. And it is said that this discovery of making ammonia was the single most important reason for the world population explosion, moving from 1 billion in the 1900s to over 7 billion today. Case number three, the accidental invention of polythene. This again goes back to the 19th century when Hans von Pechmann discovered this polymer settling at the bottom of a flask. His polymer was refined by ICI, a British chemical firm, and out of that was developed the common plastic that we is in use today in our daily lives, anything from water pipes through to food packaging, through to hard helmets. Case number four, Professor of Organic Chemistry at Penn State University, Russell Markell, noted at the time that there were hormone-based treatments that were being used for treatment of several diseases and also for contraception. But the hormones then were so expensive and out of the reach of most persons. And so he went looking for an alternate source. And his attention was drawn to a Mexican yam from which he was able to isolate a material which, with one step, he was able to convert to progesterone. A very simple, straightforward process that enabled progesterone to be produced number five, and perhaps more relatable to a number of persons who are listening in this evening, was the discovery of 5CB. 5CB came out of a project that was commissioned by the British Ministry of Defence. They were looking at trying to replace their cumbersome, um, huge, expensive cathode ray tubes that displayed information in their military vehicles. They wanted to develop flat screens. Now, at the time, liquid crystal displays were known, but they could only be used at very high temperature, which of course was not very practical. But with the production of 5CB, they were now able to produce LCDs at ambient temperature. And that then becomes the forerunner of a lot of the displays, colored flat screen displays that we are seeing in use today. So your cell phone, your TV, computer screens, and so on. That was the forerunner. So we can see from penicillin, ammonia, plastics, contraceptives, LCDs, and 5CD, our world as we know it would be entirely different without the work of the chemists, without their discoveries and their inventions. Yet many of these discoveries or useful inventions were actually serendipitous. And what do I mean by that? They were discovered in several cases accidentally, and they were discovered through careful observation of the natural phenomena that we see around us and of the processes, which, funny enough, were the ones that did not work. So when you are in the lab and thinking, my experiment is a bust, it did not work, look carefully, make your observations, because out of these come in subsequent years the basis for novel inventions. So I ask you again, why do we need to do more than do well in cave chemistry or introductory chemistry so that we can get into medicine? As we have seen, without chemistry, many of the advances and the comforts that we currently enjoy and experience in our modern world would not be. But too often, members of the general population who have had little or no exposure to the world of chemistry only think of chemistry in negative terms. It's too hard. Labs are too smelly or obnoxious. Chemicals are poisonous. Its application is limited. And a popular one, chemicals are not good for you. Everything must be organic or natural. As if organic or natural is not made from chemicals. But drawing on the examples cited, the science of chemistry has clearly contributed to the advancement of our world. Within the Department of Chemistry at the University of the West Indies, several majors and minors are delivered at the undergraduate level. General chemistry, that's the underlying basis for understanding our natural and our not so natural world. Applied chemistry, which looks at the application of chemistry in industries and enable us to produce more efficiently different materials as needed. Food chemistry, which looks at the components and the interactions of foods and how we can use those and manipulate them to ensure that we can provide nutritious, flavorful, and shelf-stable foods. Environmental chemistry, which needs no commentary. We also offer a degree in occupational environmental health and safety. So there are a wide spectrum of chemistry majors and minors applicable to our daily lives that are on offer right here. At the postgraduate level, the chemistry department offers short masters in food and agri-processing technology, as well as occupational environmental health and safety. And we do research degrees. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the pinnacle of what a university has to offer, where you can push the boundaries of knowledge and create new knowledge. Our research degrees, the Master of Philosophy and the Doctor of Philosophy, is offered in varied branches of chemistry, applied, environmental, food, inorganic, industrial, organic, and physical chemistry. These research degrees are supervised by your lecturers, world-class lecturers. You've all heard about the fact that the university is world-ranked. Well, our lecturers here are well known internationally. They are recognized specialists in their fields, and at the UWI, we are training the next generation of chemists. Our graduates have found employment opportunities locally, regionally, and in the wider chemical sphere internationally. Yes, not all of our graduates remain as chemists. Some of them have gone to the UN, as I heard Christina referring to earlier. But the training which our graduates have received has proven to be invaluable in whatever their chosen profession has been. Our graduates can be found in the financial sector, where an appreciation of industry and the scientific process have helped them in project evaluation and management, auditing, etc. Graduates are in accounting. They are in analytical laboratories. No comments necessary. They're teaching the next generation of fledgling chemists. Or graduates are in product development, in the food industry, the petrochemical industry. Or graduates are in medicine. Or graduates are in law enforcement, both on the beat and in the forensic lab. Or graduates are in research, agricultural, chemical, food, biochemical, medical. Coming out of this department of chemistry at the University of the West Indies, your department, we have isolated varied natural products with biological activities, inclusive of antibiotic, pesticidal, wound healing activities. We have studied which of our local foods have high level of the carcinogen acrylamide and through what mechanism it is formed and therefore how can we control its formation. We have looked at the industrial extraction of bauxite and how to improve its efficiency. We have looked at the pollution and nutrients accumulated in our local water bodies, the Black River, the Kingston Harbour, Discover Bay, to name just a few. So both aquatic and marine environments. We have looked at the degradation of agricultural chemicals on coffee farms and its distribution into the water systems throughout the Blue Mountains. We have looked at the influence of altitude on the quality and flavor of our world-renowned Blue Mountain coffee. We have isolated and characterized the toxin in our national fruit, the ackee, and contributed to knowledge as to when that food is safe for consumption. We have synthesized novel materials with bioactivities and other with molecular sensing abilities. We have contributed to identifying and removing of asbestos and known carcinogen from several communities across Jamaica. We have looked at antioxidants in our local berries as we explore their utility as functional foods. We have mapped the presence of valuable trace elements in red mud and determined how the red mud can be safely used to make bricks. We have also looked at air pollution, including that generated from the Riverton City fires. We have explored our marine environment and found novel compounds in seaweeds, in sponges, and other organisms. We have used microorganisms to transform natural products and cheap steroids into more valuable end products. We have looked at complex mathematical and physical chemistry phenomena in collaboration with persons from other disciplines like geologists. Just this week, one of our lecturers informed me that he has recently published a paper with the Department of Geology. We have collaborated with chemists and other scientists locally and internationally. What does that mean? Your chemistry department has created knowledge and has disseminated that scientific knowledge worldwide. To continue to advance our field, this discipline of chemistry, with the ultimate aim of improving lives and the world around us, we need to increase the pool of scholars, scholars with creativity, with foresight, natural curiosity, scholars who are driven to explore the world around them, to make observations, and to seek answers. It is clear that not all solutions and applications will be immediately relevant or evident at the time of their discovery. Sometimes it will take decades after to find a potential use for a particular innovation or application. And sometimes, like plastic, which provides ease of use, is economic, but if improperly used, is deleterious to the environment. Sometimes these inventions will have both positive and negative consequences. But without our chemistry researchers, without our chemistry students learning and progressing and developing in the field of chemistry, without us looking and trying and applying, there is no advancement. If society has no appreciation for what chemistry has offered, continue to offer, and has the potential to offer, then they will not be encouraged nor encourage persons to pursue the field. So, should the studying of chemistry be normalized and appreciated more in today's society? Most definitely. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that presentation, Dr. Minot Cates. I have learned a lot. I'm not sure about anyone else, but I'm sure I've learned a lot. Thank you very much.
You are welcome, Nicalia.
Yes,
Thank you,
and
Dr.
guys, you heard that. If when
No, go. You can go.
yes, I was saying that if when you FSC and did chemistry, you definitely regressed wrong. I'm sorry for you. I'm joking. Every discipline is very important, and I'm glad that Dr. Minot
I was happy to be here. Yes,
about the
chemistry
importance of
matters.
studying chemistry. It was fruitful. It was a fruitful presentation. I'm sure the students learned a lot.
I'm happy to have been here. And biochemistry builds on chemistry.
Yes.
Okay. Hi everyone. So thank you for still being with us. As you guys know, well, I hope you guys enjoyed that session. I saw you guys in the comments. I think that was especially special for the chemistry students. So yes, as you saw on the flyer and as Nicola said, we're gonna go into our giveaways. So I hope you guys are ready. So we're gonna start off with our flow people because top tier, the flow network, the blue network is the best. Clearly, yes. All right, so get your phones out, guys. We're gonna go now. Okay, so how this is gonna go? We can't just do it easy. We can't just set out the numbers because that's gonna be too easy, man. Might as well I text it to you. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say one number above the actual number. So if I say 10, the number you're supposed to write is 9. If I say 6, you're supposed to write 5, and so on and so forth. Okay, ready? I'm gonna read it slow since it's not, the normal reading. Okay, so 10. Sorry. What happens to your top, man? What happens to your top? Ready? You guys ready? You get the first number already. All right, ready? 10, 5, 10, 8, 10, 1, 5, 5, 9, 7, 2, 2, 7, 1. Who have it? Who have it? Who have it? Let me go back and check the comments. Why you type out the numbers? It's so easy. No, man. All right, anybody get it? Waiting on the comments. If you guys don't get it, I'm going to take it because I have flow. Oh my God. Thank you. Am I allowed to say this name? Gaza Plug? Yes. Thank you for your comment. Yes. These are the numbers, guys. So remember, the number is 1 above what the actual number is. So if it's a 10, it's a 9. If it's a 6, it's a 5. Nobody forget it yet. But I don't want credit. Mikhail
That's
got
what I'm
it.
saying.
Mikhail got it. Woo! Is that me for I got it? Is that what Mikhail is saying?
Great.
Happy for you. Congrats, Mikhail. Thank you for joining us today, and I hope you enjoyed that credit. Everyone else, you gotta speed it up. Speed it up. We'll have another giveaway later down in the evening or later down in the program. So stay tuned if you didn't get this one, okay? And you have to be speeding. Mind Mikhail get the next one too. So I'm gonna hand over to Michaela now, and she's gonna do the other giveaway and introduction.
All right, guys. So I have a digital phone card. You see, like how Savannah gave you the number above, I'm going to give you the number below. So you know how that goes. All right. So I'm going to do it slowly. So it's 6, 1, 4, -1, 2, 4, 5, 2, 2, 2, 1, 8, and 3. So let me see who got the digital phone card.
Who get it? Who get it? Oh, Jordan said we should set the service. Yeah, man, we set the service. So my own, I'm doing all the flow giveaways for the night, and Nicola is doing the digital giveaway. I'm putting the wrong way, guys, and you never tell me. Nicola is doing the digital giveaways for the night. Yes, so that's how it's gonna go. So next time you see me, I'm Flo, and Nicola, yes, is gonna do digital.
You're welcome, Mikhail. No one got the digital phone card?
Romain, get it? No,
man. Oh! Congrats,
Romain.
Yes, congratulations.
Congrats, Romain.
All right.
Oh, gosh.
Another time. So, guys, I have another speaker here. She's a phenomenon. She's a motivational speaker who inspires the youth community. She's an education development specialist and a part-time lecturer at the Montego Bay Community College. She's an executive director of Jamaica Intensive Reading. clinic and a distinguished president at the Kiwanis Club of Young Professionals, Western Jamaica. She is a literacy enthusiast and has published over 6 books to aid critical thinking in children. I think you guys kind of have somewhat of an idea of what I'm talking about, so please help me welcome Miss Santana from Mars.
Hi everyone, thank you very much for having me. You know what? I almost missed this session
Hello.
this morning in Kingston, and I had to drive back, to Mobile to catch the meeting, and that is the reason why I was not able to make the time for 6 p.m. But nevertheless, here I am to share with you during this time and to talk about how to remain positive and motivated during um, COVID-19. I must say that I do agree with Christina that COVID-19 has been a very savage year for many persons. And I can attest to that because it has been very, very savage for me. Because in my mind, 2020 was supposed to be the year. I have 2 jobs, manager at a Caribbean-based organization and also a lecturer at, as you heard, the Montego Bay Community College. For the managerial job, that is a travel job that enables me to travel to different countries across the Caribbean and across the world. Yearly, we normally receive a schedule of countries that we're responsible to travel to and to attend meetings. For 2020, when I got to the list, it was bomb, country after country, country after country. I started off the year by visiting Trinidad and Tobago, and that was in January. The following month, I think I was to go to Brazil and some other countries, but we heard about COVID, and as such, we had to divert to online meetings, which actually, as Jamaicans, we would say cramp our styles. To be honest, I could have been demotivated by that because I was excited about the traveling, even though I have had, the many opportunities to travel to countries. But I used that as a learning point and a point to relax, pause, and breathe. And during that time, I must say that I have discovered so many talents and skills that I didn't know that I had within me. Some of them I was aware, but I didn't know that I was so good at them. Like, for instance, cooking. Since COVID-19, I realized that even though, I am so health conscious, I watch what I eat. I am a vegan, not a strict vegan because I eat fish. But I realized that even some dishes that I did not know that I could prepare, I was able to do them and to master them. And at one point, I started to share them via Instagram, and and got many good reviews about them. First time, you couldn't get me doing that because in my mind, I'm not a great chef, nor anywhere near there. But it allowed me to embrace that part of me that I neglected for a while. And it goes back to show that many times in life we chase after education, we chase after career, but we neglect the most important things. And what we fail to understand is that at one point in our lives, we will have to embrace our family. And for the young ladies here, you are going to get married if you aspire, to do so. And in order to get married and to stay in an active and successful marriage, you have to know how to run a home. And, I say that to say that even for me, COVID-19 actually slowed me down because for many persons who know me, I was all over the place. Flights after flights, volunteerism, doing all sorts of things, jobs after jobs. And, it allowed me to slow down and pay attention to some of the most important things in life. And that is going to propel me to my next point. During COVID-19, you have to look at the positives. Look at the persons who you are surrounded by. So many times we have persons in our lives who show us love, persons who are always there for us, but we fail to acknowledge them. We fail to, to give them the credit that they deserve because we're so busy out there chasing the dreams and so on. And for me personally, it allowed me to slow down and to build a stronger and deeper relationship with all these people, especially the people who were in my corner, cheering me on, especially the persons who were my backbone, doing not most of the work, but some of the work for me. I got a chance to know those persons better, and even they themselves got a chance to know me better. I got a chance to build a deeper relationship with even people who were trying to reach out to me for a very long time, but I was too busy to even acknowledge them. During COVID-19, it is a time for us to look at things like our health. We cannot pour from an empty barrel, and you have to realize that in order for you to be successful and productive, you have to be healthy and fit. And in order for you to be healthy and fit, you have to ensure that you look at the different aspects of your health, not only what you eat, but how active you are. And now is the time that you can set your schedule to accommodate that aspect of your life. We do not have any excuse now to say we are too busy so we can't exercise. Come on, it is, we're in the pandemic, which is a period for us to focus on the things that we were not able to focus on. Another aspect of the COVID-19 and the positivity that I want to focus on is our skill sets. Listen, as Christina said, 2020 has been a very savage year. And many of us, we for before 2020, we took on the role of predicting the future, where we look at persons and we say, look, these are going to be the agents of change. These are going to be the persons who are going to be in politics. These are going to be the next doctors, the next lawyers. And 2020 has, it has changed everything. The persons who most of us overlooked, they are now at the top of the tier. The persons who most of us were looking to, to enter the race and to do other things, they are, taking the back tier just to build on themselves, just to enhance their skills and to do other skill sets. So we are in a year of the new norm. We are in a year that is not so easy to predict because as you look day by day, something different happens. So you have to ensure that instead of paying attention to other people, you pay attention to yourself and do what you think you need to do in order to propel you to the future or to your future goals. Now, after 2020, where do you see yourself? What are your future plans? What are your 10-year goals? What are your 5-year goals? Now is the time that you're in isolation to work towards those goals. Is it that you want to become the next doctor, the next lawyer, the next politician? What do you need in order to become the next politician? What do you need in order to become the next doctor? What do you need in order to become the next lawyer? So instead of, as Christina said, instead of watching Netflix and using the time of isolation to engage in activities that are not going to benefit you, use this time to build on your skills. No, I must say that not going to all those countries that I had on my list is actually a blessing to me, to be honest, because I recently transitioned from a part-time lecturer to a full-time lecturer. And also I just started my PhD. And to be honest, if it were not for COVID, I would probably be traveling right now. And the time would not be there for me to be paying attention to my PhD and also to be here to do the interview to transition from a part-time lecturer to a full-time lecturer. And I must say that every time people invite me to talk, I try to talk the talk and to ensure that I have actions to match up to things that I tell people to do. And over the holiday, during the peak of the summer period, I actually use the time to build on myself. And even today, I went to collect a certificate for a program that I did while I was in isolation. So you have to ensure that you build on your skill sets, that you use this as a time to reflect. What are your weak areas? What are your strong areas? Now, we have to be our brother's keepers. Whatever your strong areas are, you have to ensure that you use those strong areas to help other persons who are not so strong, and also build, use other persons to motivate you so that you can learn and become a better person. Because it doesn't make sense. You have friends and you cannot build or grow from that friendship. So you have to ensure that the friends that you keep are friends that you can grow from. I don't want to have a friend who is going to sit and gossip every day. I don't want to have a friend who is going to come and talk about soap opera or some TV show every day. I don't want to have a friend who is going to come and talk about anything that is not relevant to my future and my growth. They have a saying that says, show me your company and I tell you who you are. That saying never goes wrong. So you have to ensure that in order to become a winner, you align yourself with the winner group. When I remember back in school, I am not going to, what I can tell you is that I have always been determined. I was not the brightest, but guess what? I was a part of the brilliant crew. And the brilliant crew, I have to give them their credits. They helped to build me because they kept me grounded and focused. Each time I get distracted and I see them studying, it forces me to study too. I feel so bad and so guilty for not doing what they are doing. So when you keep the right friendship and the right network, they help to keep you on track all the time. Another thing that I would encourage you to do that I've been doing during the pandemic is to read. Let me tell you something. Ego has no place in 2020. And you have to ensure that you exercise humility and tell yourself that you do not know it all and you will never ever know it all. And in order to learn and to grow daily, you have to be teachable or learnable. So with that said, how are we going to do this? Many of us, like myself, we like to read, right? And for the others, they don't really like to read, and you can't blame them because, as some of us know, we do have different learning styles. So some persons are visual learners, and for those persons, they learn best by looking at things and reading books. Likewise, you have some persons who are not visual learners, but they're audio learners, right? Auditory learners. So they have to listen in order to get the information. For those persons, they will not be interested to read a book, but at the same time, they will sit and listen to a podcast or an audio version of a book. You have some other persons who they are not auditory learners nor visual learners, but they are kinesthetic kind of learners. For those learners, they learn by doing, by applying the combination of auditory learner and the visual learners. So for those persons, what they do is to listen to other persons telling the story. So for myself, I am a reader. I love to read. So what I would do to help those persons is to read a book, read one of my favorite books, then tell the person the main points from the book. So I said all of that to say that you do not have any excuse for not getting the information. Find out with what type of learning style you have, and use that in order to be teachable or to gain new information. Over the pandemic, I've read several books, which I would recommend for you to read. This is The Art of War. And for one of my classes that I teach in business studies is strategic management. And this is a book that I normally encourage my students to read. It is The Art of War. It teaches you strategies to go about your daily living. The other book that I would recommend for you to read is The One Thing. For this book, it is very powerful, and it teaches you to keep focus on the number one prize and your intention. What is it that you aim to do in the future? The other book is, and for these books, you can also get the audio version on YouTube. For this, it is High Performance Habits. And finally, I have so many, but I decided to show you these 5. Look at it. Awakening the Giant Within. So these books, tend to teach you things that you don't really hear on a daily basis. And some of these books, persons know about the content, but not a lot of persons are willing to share what they know. Persons are normally selfish with strategies. Once they learn a strategy and they realize that that is the strategy that they use to win at life, no one wants to share their secrets. Sometimes you see some persons and you wonder, how is it that this person is excelling so much? How is it that this person is always winning? How is it that this person is so committed and so focused? Let me tell you something. Those persons have mastered the art of strategic planning and also have been, teaching themselves strategies in order to grow and to keep focus. And not many persons are patient enough to teach persons what they have learned. So what you have to do in order to be, your best teacher is to be patient with yourself and to use this lockdown in a positive way by reading. And not to divert you from your study, from your studies. I know most of you are from different faculties, right? Not only chemistry, but I don't remember the others that I saw. But you have to ensure that you read ahead of your course, and it makes life so much easier. I am telling you, I've been in the system, and we all go through phases. At your stage, I can tell you that there was a point when I only studied when it was exam time. And God bless this brain. I have a very visual memory where if I study now, I will remember everything that I study. But let me tell you something, that isn't always effective, because what you want for yourself is to be agents of change. You don't want to be a swatter who just swat to pass exams. You want to be a critical thinker, someone who can analyze situations and use jargons from their faculties and from their areas, niche and so on, to engage in meaningful conversations about economic developments and things that are taking place especially in your field. So you have to ensure that you read widely so that whenever you are engaged in these conversations, you can represent yourself well and your institution well, to say that you learned something from that institution. And let me tell you something, people are always looking on. And sometimes when you think that you are just here contributing and making a difference, you are not just only contributing and making a difference. Don't fool yourself. You are changing lives. You are motivating even the people you don't know are watching. So you have to ensure that whatever you do it well. And this is the time, no more than ever, that you stop, pause, reflect. See what you have been doing right, what you have not been doing right, and fix those that you have not been doing right. We're not perfect. And people know this. And let me tell you something. You see, we are living in a very harsh society that is very unforgiving. And even if they're forgiving, they are slow to forgive, right? And whatever you put out there, people will always use that to judge you. Even if you enter the arena at a very young age, even if you enter the arena inexperienced, people are going to use that inexperience to judge you, to say, look, who she thinks she is. She's not a good speaker. She's not, an effective person to do representation. So many things. People will always have things to say about you, especially if you are in the evolving or growing stage. So you have to ensure that while you grow effectively, so that whenever you do enter that path that God wants for you to be on, you are ready, right? And we have to plan for the future. What is going to happen after 2020? Are you going to enter 2021, 2022 just as how you entered 2020? No. Mm-mm. You have to ensure that you, whatever works best for you. I can say you write down the things. I can say you make a vision board. I can say you make a gratitude box. There are so many strategies that you could use to build yourself. What you could do is to engage in a mentor, get a trusted friend, somebody who you can confide in and ask them to help you to grow, to evaluate you. You can even evaluate yourself to see, where you are, and to see if the person you are now, or to see if the position that you are in or the things that you are doing now are aligning with your future, right? You have to ensure that you start on a strong foot, right? And when I say on a strong foot, I am talking about, I remember Usain Bolt and the other athletes like Asafa Powell and so on. If you realize they always have a leg forward, right? You have to ensure that you put your stronger foot forward and build while you are here during the pandemic. The pandemic is not here to kill us. I told a friend recently that the pandemic is actually a blessing in disguise. And for me, I've grown so much because I've always been at it. But with the pandemic, I have slowed down. I've learned so many things about myself. I have taken the back seat just to reevaluate and just to pay attention to the most important things. What are the most important things? Your peace of mind, one, which many of us oftentimes neglect. And that is the reason why we find ourselves experiencing burnout, where we start passionately, and then after a time, we just get so tired. We say, you know what, this is not my passion. I am tired of this personality. I am tired of that person. As soon as you start to encounter all the obstacles, you just go in a corner or a curve and you just quit. You have to ensure that you have a strong peace of mind, so that when anything comes, you have the resilience to move forward and to push through. Just as how we're all pushing through the pandemic, you have to ensure that you don't only push through the pandemic to survive, but you push through with your goals, with your dreams, with your aspirations, with your passions, in order to achieve your fullest potential, in order to go out there and be agents of change, in order to leave a legacy, in order to ensure that your name is being remembered. Nothing is wrong if you take a break to rebuild, to revamp, before you move forward. Nothing is wrong if you decide that you want to take a break to pay attention to what is most important. No, because let me tell you something. It is important that you pay attention to every step while you go along your path to success. Do not skip any. As my grandmother would say, shortcut draw blood. And it doesn't make sense you try to skip the line in order to achieve God's plans. Many times, I think I tell a group of students this once, many times, many of us, we try to rush our progress, and we try to rush the plans that God has for us. And then guess what? We rush the plans and move outside of God's plans. And if it were to take us 5 years to achieve His plans, it indirectly take us 10 years, because we went off path because we couldn't wait. And you have to ensure that during this pandemic you exercise what we call resilience, right? You have to know that nothing will happen before its time, and God's timing is the best timing. No matter how you see everybody else achieving, just be happy for them. It is their time to shine. Your time will come. Tell yourself that, look, this person has been working hard. This person has been behind the scene through trials and tribulations that many of us do not know about. And one of the pains that I normally experience is how persons normally critique persons during their success. I've seen so many young people out there succeeding and shining, but guess what? We don't know what they have been through behind the scenes. Gabrielle Morris, for example, I don't know her personally, but I've seen her over the news. It is her time to succeed. Many persons have been congratulating her. And I know at the same time, there are many persons who think, not the young people, but the older folks who think that she is too young for the position. She will grow into it. Get over it. You understand? So I think this is the posture. This is the stance that we have to take as a society. Be happy for others because your time will come. While others are out there shining, look at them, use them as motivation, ask them what they have been doing, and use, their strategies to help you to build and to grow as a better person. Because guess what? Whatever God has for you, no man on this earth can take it away. And whatever plans that God has for another person, you cannot stop it. So use this time to embrace others and to reach out to others. And this will now propel me to my next point. Build your network. Ensure that you use this period to reach out to others. Let me tell you something. You see, this lockdown, it is not an easy thing for many persons. You have many persons who have lost jobs. You have students who have been at home in a stressful and toxic environment, not because they don't have food to eat, not because they don't have access to the internet to access their classes, but because everybody else around them are just going crazy. And because of that, they're not in a peaceful environment, which is really affecting them mentally. So you have to ensure that you be the strong one for your strong friend. Take up your phone and check on your friends to find out how they are doing, because they really need you during this time. You have persons with different personalities. Not everybody going to reach out to you and say, look, I am having a tough time during this pandemic because of the ego, because of pride. Not everybody going to say, look, I'm in a toxic environment and being at school was better for me. Being at school was a getaway for me. And no, I don't know how I'm going to survive the next 2 months, because they're very secretive and they don't want you to take that and to view them in a different perspective. So you have to ensure that you utilize the spirit of discernment and reach out to a friend, be your brother's keepers, your sister's keepers, and see how best you can help another person. If you realize that you have a friend who does not have access to the internet for classes, take notes for both of you and call the person and share what you have learned during the class time, so that you can all be resilient and push through during this trying time. No, is not the time for us to be selfish. No, is not the time for us to be a one man in this game, as many of us would say. Now is the time for us to be a team player. Now is the time for us to say, look, Gabrielle has been a very, brilliant person, but since of lately, she has not been her best self. How can I help her? How can I be a good friend? Or, you have to ensure that you reach out to people, that you help people to, to survive. And somebody said that, I think it was Daniel who said that you have to help people to thrive during the pandemic. And it is very important that you don't only look out for yourself. And many times we, opposing to what I said earlier, many times, many of us, we are the strong ones, but who are there for us? We don't normally have persons who are there in our corner like how we are in their corners. What you have to do is to find a confidant. This world is not so cold. You can at least find one person who you can confide in. Let that person know, how you have been doing, what you have been struggling with. And I'm sure that one word of advice can help. And for many persons who persons who have trust issues and you just believe that you can't tell people certain things, listen to podcasts, watch videos, watch motivational channels and so on. These things can help you. You have so many things out there that you can learn during the pandemic. For me, along with cooking and exercising, I have been gardening. You don't want to see my garden. I have been to almost every flower shop around town buying flowers, and I've learned so many things. To this date, if I could convince anybody that my strong area is science, and trust me, science is actually one of my weakest areas. But because of the pandemic, I've learned so many things. I've learned how to cultivate plants and how to mold and do so many things. 2020 is a year of growth. We don't have any excuse. And by the end of 2020, I don't want anybody to say, boy, I'm stressed out, or 2020 lick me out. That's a lie. 2020 is actually a blessing. 2020 actually created a room for you to grow. Oh my God, don't waste this opportunity. This is a one in a lifetime opportunity. Many of us before 2020, we were so busy doing other things. We were so busy partying. We were so busy engaging in many different activities. We were so busy, volunteering and doing everything else except the fine details, the things that are most important to us that we oftentimes overlook. The very people in our corner, the very family member, the very grandparents, the very children, So you have to ensure that even the little things, your room that you have under the bed, the bookshelves, the things that you have not, that you have never visited, ensure that you use this time to redecorate, to create, a space that is inviting, so that whenever you enter that space, you feel at peace. Whenever you enter that space, you feel so motivated that you want to say, yes, I am going to read now. Yes, I am going to do this. Yes, I'm going to take on that challenge. Because let me tell you something, your very space can affect how you think. Your very space can affect how you function. When you're in a clustered space, that can affect your entire well-being. So ensure that you use this to reignite yourself and to motivate other people and to grow from stage to stage, from step to step. For persons who, have been doing poorly in school, ensure that you use this as a perfect opportunity to be on the dean's list, like Christina. I tell students all the time, you see, I wish I was, I'm a student now, but I wish I was at your level right now, because guess what? No, persons are no longer sitting the normal exams where you have to sit in a hall to do, the critical thinking exams. Persons are now getting take-home exams. Who would want to be in school during this time? I think this is the easiest time to be, in school. It is something that we can debate, but come on, you know what I mean? So you have to ensure that as you move forward, that you exercise patience with yourself, that you pause, rebuild, and breathe. And how are you going to pause, rebuild, and breathe? One, by exercising. Two, by paying attention to the things that you have been neglecting. Go back and rebuild the relationships that you have lost with family members and friends. Go back and build your networking. Ensure that you gain an additional skill. Ensure that you read the books. You don't necessarily have to read all these books, but you can read, a book that you think that is intellectually stimulating, something that will help you to grow. For persons who are curious about history, for persons who are curious about geography, you can, watch your Discover channels or do something, but ensure that by the end of 2020, you are not the person that you were. And I am looking forward. I can see the chat. I can see all the comments. And I can see all the names. I am hoping that in the future, if we do meet again, I am seeing the future prime ministers from this list. I'm seeing the future caretaker for, his or her country, not country, but community. I am seeing ambassadors. I am seeing leaders. I am seeing doctors. I am seeing lawyers. Why? Because you did not waste your time in 2020. No, it's not the time for, for negative relationships. Now is not the time to be distracted. Now is the time to use your isolation to rebuild so that you can move forward. Let me tell you something. By the end of this, the people will know about you. People should know about you. God is actually giving us an opportunity so that we can make our names be known. Your names are not going to be known now because you are in the process of being cultivated into a better person. But what is going to happen after COVID-19? That is what we should pay attention to. Ladies and gentlemen, it was definitely my pleasure being here with you. I hope that you have learned a lot, and that out of this conversation we will grow, move from step to step, moving from the old version of ourselves to a better version of ourselves. Thank you very much.
Comment section is blowing up. Everyone loves you. Look, listen, guys. I took my share, I took my share, and I hope that you all did the same as well. Oh, I think Savannah.
It was amazing. I love it. And you can see all the love pouring out in the comment section. I was very inspired. I really enjoyed your talk. You said a lot of things that really hit me. Before you even said something about before the quarantine, we're focused on all these other things. And I was like, I wasn't focused on other things. I was building myself, I was doing good things. And then you said even you focus on like external things like volunteering is what you said, and I love doing that. But then you said you need to also focus on building yourself. I thought that I was doing okay, but after listening to your talk, I realized where I can refocus and build myself better so that I can come into 2021 differently. I can't enter 2021 with 2022, 2020 energy. Sorry, yeah. So I really enjoyed your talk. I can see that everyone loved it. So thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome. Thank you too for having me.
Alright, great. Savannah, I am so encouraged and inspired. Look, I did not anticipate this magnitude tonight. I am so happy.
Me too, Nikki. Like, honestly, like I knew that the speakers are gonna be amazing because I saw the names, but I did not expect this at all. Like speaker after speaker, it's just been amazing. And Miss Santana, she blew me away. Honestly, I was just glued to the screen the whole time, and I was trying to focus, like, when am I coming on? But I don't want to miss anything. It was literally just amazing, and everybody in the comments saying, "I love her. I love this lady so much. I feel inspired." You guys are me. That's how I felt as well. I loved it. Love it. Love it.
And
Yes.
you notice as well that the speakers, they were talking about different things really, but some main points kept coming up. They kept hitting, like being passionate. You need to
Yes.
reflect, being purposeful. So being purposeful, you have to align yourself with with friends that will lift you up. Those sort of stuff I saw, and I was like, wow, wow, this was
Yes.
destined to happen.
Yeah, I love it. Like as you said, they spoke about different things, but you always saw that connect. And when you said passion, that kept coming up. It just came up in different ways. So Daniel said that you have to find ways to focus. You have to learn how to step back, and you have to learn how to come back and refocus so that you can apply yourself properly in school. Christina mentioned you have to believe in yourself and you have to go for things even when you're not exactly qualified. You have to actually go for these things, and you can't sit at home being lazy. You have to be passionate, and you have to go out and put yourself in these situations so that you can get opportunities. Then Santana came and she said that thing that you mentioned a while ago about good friend groups. Listen to
Yes.
me, if it wasn't for my friend group, I don't know how I would have survived quarantine. And I thought I took this for granted,
Honestly.
but somebody mentioned it before, and they said, "Yo, I don't have this group of friends that can, keep me grounded and keep me posted with everything." So if you have it, guys,
Mhm.
be grateful. And if you don't, seek it out, because as she said, you need to be surrounded by like-minded people who are passionate, as Nikita said, and ambitious. Yes.
Entirely. So, Savannah, you can go ahead and put on our next speaker. I think she's quite excited and ready to go.
All right. Yes. Oh, yes. So next, guys, we have a friendly face, a familiar face who we all know and love. I'm going to read the description first and see if anyone in the comments can guess who it is. So she is an organic chemistry lecturer in the department. Yes, she is loved by all and is quite dedicated to the well-being of each and every student in the faculty. She also serves as the Associate Dean of Student Experience. Today, she's going to speak about time management and strategic learning. Not sure if anyone guessed it as yet, but right now, I'm welcoming to the stage Dr. Winklet Gallimore. Yes.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to be with you here today. Are you hearing a feedback? Okay. Give me 1 second. All right. So, can I get my presentation, please? Is it possible? It is. Are we gonna have it? Okay, it's coming up. It's coming up. It's my pleasure again, as I said before, to be with you. And that presentation, yes, a while ago was absolutely amazing. We all learned so much from what she had to share. You know, we have to, when life throws us lemon, we need to make lemonade. And so that is what we are doing here. So I really want to thank the organizers for inviting me to share with you guys today. And so we're talking about time management and strategic training. So I'm going to go through it as quickly and efficiently as possible because, you know, some of you have to actually go to studying right now. All right. So can you transition to the next slide, please? Okay, awesome. So I think we all know who Elon Musk is, like a gazillionaire. And there are some things that he has to say because, you know, success leaves clues behind. And there are persons who are very, very successful in their field. And so there are some basics that we have to garner from these individuals. So, guys, I am trying to read. I can't see this because I have to be doing it on my phone. I really can't see it too clearly. Anyway, it says when something, no, this is not going to work for me. So, okay, hold on. Can I expand it? No, I can't expand it. Hold on, guys. No, I can't see too clearly, but the essence of what Elon Musk is saying is that sometimes you're going to go through some difficulties. Sometimes it's going to be hard. But in the midst of it being hard, you have to recognize that you still have to push through anyway. All right? And the other thing that he said, which is very, very key, is that sometimes you don't even know what you're capable of. Sometimes you have to just push harder than you had before in order to get to where you want to go in life. It is said that you are least capable of knowing what you are capable of. All right, and that photo down the bottom is that of a tree. And the essence of what Elon Musk is saying is that you need to understand the fundamentals. And of course, we're talking about chemistry. You know, you can't be seeking to understand the leaves and the flowers and the fruit without understanding what is at the root. All right, so it is in essence what he's saying is that you have to seek to understand the fundamentals, and once you understand the fundamentals, you can build on from there. All right, so the truth is you may not even have had that much of a solid footing in chemistry prior to entering the university, so it means you have some work to do. Okay, and so you have to recognize you have some work to do, and so get on board and do the work. Okay, I'm going to move on to time management and the elements that are associated with time management. Now, one of the things that we always tell students is that you need to budget 4 hours for every 1 hour of lectures. Now, particularly for the first year students, you know, you have 3 hours of lectures for chemistry for the week, for preliminary and introductory at the introductory level. And you may say, boy, look how much time I have. No, you do not have a whole lot of time. You have to recognize that you have to invest more time than the 1 dege hour that you have as lecture. Okay, so you need to devote and budget several hours for that 1 hour of lecture time. All right. The other thing that I need to mention is that you need to have a plan. And many of us have put up timetables and they look lovely, they look wonderful, beautiful timetables. But at the end of the day, do you actually follow it? So it's one thing to have a plan. The next thing, guys, you have to work the plan. If you don't work the plan ain't gonna work. All right, so you need to work the plan. And then the other thing that I want to mention is you need to seek help when you see the need to do that. Okay, the lecturers in chemistry, I can speak for chemistry, in fact I can speak for the entire faculty. Our lecturers are friendly individuals for the most part. You may find 1 and 2, okay, speak the truth, shame the devil. You may find 1 and 2 that may not be so excited, but within chemistry, I can say for sure, or we are individuals who want to help you to grow. We get no joy from sending up a mark sheet that has pure C's and FE, F1 and F2, 1, F3. We're not into the F zone, guys. We want to see you make progress. We want to see you operating at your full potential. So those are some important things that you need to consider in the mix. Okay, in terms of now actually going through your material, on the right-hand side is a listing of things that you need to consider from a practical standpoint. So you've put your timetable together, you have decided, okay, I'm weaker in physical chemistry than organic, so I need to spend a little bit more time in physical and organic. All of these things are important, nice. All right, so on the right-hand side, it speaks to how we're going to make this happen. And to be honest, some of this advice has come from Dr. Tarif Montague. Dr. Tarif Montague was in the Faculty of Science and Technology many years ago. That's how I met him. He did preliminary chemistry, and then he transitioned to the medical science faculty. And you know, we know what is the truth. The truth is that we know that many of our students want to transition, and the idea is that we want persons' dreams to become realized, but we also want persons to recognize that you need the chemist and the biochemist in order to have all of these diseases cured, because who is going to make the medicines? Somebody's got to make the medicines, guys. And so one has to be thinking on a more holistic level. But the truth is, we know some of you want to pursue this line. And so he was in preliminary chemistry, and then he transitioned to medicine, and he graduated at the top of his class in medicine. So for those of you who want to transition, and I'm not encouraging it, okay, but if that is your dream, I would not want to discourage you from pursuing that as a dream. All right, so if one person can do it, somebody else can do it as well. So as I said, so from over here, you need to enhance the extent of your exposure to the material. What it's going to mean? It's going to mean you need to read up on the topic before the lecture. So before the lecture, you come in with some information in the headspace. So after you read up on the topic before the lecture, the next thing you know is to pay attention in class. And of course, we know we're all virtual, and you know, we can't sit that you're on your phone while you're in class. We can't see all of the multitasking that you're doing, that you're making breakfast while you're in class and all of these things. We can't see that. But at the end of the day, to thine own self, you're going to have to be true. And you are going to have to recognize that somebody paid good money for you to be in school. And so you have to maximize that to its fullest extent. Okay, so after you read up on the topic before lecture, you pay attention in class and you make notes. Yes, the slides are there, guys, but make notes. Do not make any assumptions concerning, yeah, man, the recording is there, I can go back to it. That puts you in a position where you're always like, boy, you know, it will be all right, man, it will be all right, because I have the recording, right? That tends to make you feel lazy and tend not to be as alert as you need to be in the class itself. So we're going to be very ready to take notes and being alert, all right? Then after the class is done, you need to review the material. So what is this? This is 3 times now that you are exposing yourself to the same material. So having exposed yourself to the material, then you need to study the material. But you've already exposed yourself to it 3 times. And so you can study it a couple of times, and by the time you study it a couple of times, then you're ready for the road, okay? And then another pieces of advice here is that you need to ask questions. An inquiring mind is absolutely essential in order to succeed and in this arena. And then the next piece of advice there is do past paper questions. Okay, so the topic is completed. You need to go and say, okay, what would the exam look like? What would the exam question look like under these circumstances? All right, so all of those are important elements. As you can see, all of those things take time. And so you need to recognize that that is going to be important. So in the mix, so at the bottom there, it speaks about the 4 Ds of time management. And the essence of it is that there's some things that you need to do. There's some things you can delegate. So for argument's sake, you're at home and, you know, the yard needs to be swept. Well, maybe your parents will be too crazy about that if you delegate that responsibility to your little brother or sister. But you may have to, in some circumstances, do some level of delegation so that you're not in a position, you're not in a tightrope where, boy, you know, you have an assignment due, but your mother said, boy, you know, you have to wash up the dishes and you have to do this and you have to do that. Maybe you may have to, you know, pay your little brother to help out the situation. Who knows? But the point that I'm making is that there's some things you're going to have to delegate to another entity, to someone else, if you're going to be balancing yourself and balancing your time. All right, and then some things you may have to defer. And there is a concept of understanding that to everything there is a season. There is a time to be all up into exercising, morning, noon, and night. And then there's a time when you're going to have to cut it to a half an hour because there are other things that take priority in your schedule. All right? Netflix watching, now is not the season for that, ladies and gentlemen. It is a season to put on those blinkers and to run hard. Can you believe we're already almost at the end of week 3? And as most of us know, for chemistry, for introductory and prelim, week 5 is when we have our first course test. So your spin around is week 4 is done. Week after that is a course test. All right, so you have to be very, very efficient with the use of your TIME. Okay, so that is important to note. Okay, I'm going to move on to strategic learning. Thank you. And as you can see there, that little corner, it speaks about strategy, and it involves thinking, planning, and management. All right, so you have to spend some time and think through, how am I going to make this work? How am I going to get from point A to point B? Do I have to go over the hill, or can I go around the hill? What is it going to require of me to get to where I want to go? And so what is going to be very important is to have the right attitude. Attitude, guys, is everything. Everything. Those who think they can and those who think they can't are both right. So it's going to mean you're going to have to put in the effort, put in the work that's required to get from where you are to where you want to go. And so, but your mindset is going to be very important, which is the next piece of information, next piece of advice, is that you need to have a growth mindset, not a fixed mindset. So a growth mindset says that, okay, right now I'm not great at this particular aspect of the course, but I know if I put in the work, I will get to where I want to go. So, okay, one moment. Yeah, if you put in the work, you get to where you want to go. All right, so it's going to mean that you're going to have an attitude and a mindset that says, this is possible. I can do this. I can get to where I want to go. All right, so the next thing that I want to mention is that you need to know yourself. I was listening, I was at a class between 6 and around 7, so I didn't see that part of the presentations, but I did kind of scroll back and looked at some of the presentation, and I think I did hear Danielle mention that, you know, you need to know yourself and to know what works best for you, and that's very, very key, to know what is it that works best for you. You need to find a location where you can be focused, eliminate distractions. That could be the bathroom, you know, guys. In these times, you got to do what you got to do. That's just how life works. You got to do what you got to do. Okay? In some instances, you may have to leave the house. And yes, we all don't want to get COVID-19, but at the same time, you want to position yourself for success. And success is uncomfortable many times, and you have to recognize that it's uncomfortable, and it's going to put you in a position where you're going to have to make some adjustments. For preliminary and introductory chemistry, and there are other chemistry courses that we have lab components, and that means coming into the lab. And so, yes, you know, we all have our concerns. We're taking whatever precautions we need to take. I did see Dr. Minot Kate's on as well. I don't know if she mentioned anything about that, but we're taking the precautions that are necessary in order for you to have the best education. We don't want to scrimp on the quality education that you deserve as a university student. All right. And so it's going to mean some of us are going to have to come in, and you're going to come in and you're going to have a wonderful attitude about it. Wonderful attitude. And also recognize that there's an advantage in it as well. You actually get to see the people whose names are on the screen, on the Blackboard collaborative, your names. You actually see them. You know, that is a way that you can actually also develop rapport and relationships with other people. You know, so see the advantages that are there. Okay. Leave the house, get out of the bed, ladies and gentlemen. The bed is not your friend when it comes to doing what you need to do. The bed is not your friend. Get out of the bed. Sometimes you need to get better lighting in order to concentrate better. So that is something that you need to consider as well. And also you need to know what are the resources at your disposal. The peer-led tutoring program, that would be for the introductory chemistry students. Books are online and available for you, so you need to consider that as well. And then there is also the fact that we have a book rental scheme, so you need to log on to the book rental scheme as well. Okay, now in this whole concept of strategic learning, I want to say one thing. Hope is not a strategy. So don't tell me that I'm hoping that things will work out. Hope, ladies and gentlemen, is not a strategy. Okay? Okay. I'm coming down. So a few other things that I want to mention in terms of strategic learning. Find your tribe. There are people out there who want to learn. And so find those people. Get involved in a study group. Find those individuals that can help you to grow. So who you link with is going to really be very, very important for your life. Okay. And what's also important is to teach other people what you know. When you are able to teach others, then it means that you really got it and you really have it down pat. So being in a position to be a blessing to somebody else, you end up being a blessing, being blessed in the mix of it all. All right. You may need to take some supplements for energy and to enhance your memory and all of these things. You have ginseng and other things, and you know, there are options. And if you really want some options, I can introduce you to some. But there are options in terms of beefing up your system so that you can go through this period. All right. You have 12 to 13 weeks of teaching, and then you have a little break, and then you have your exams. Focus. Focus is the name of the game. Ms. Morris spoke about the book, The One Thing. That is a very good book. I have read it myself. And so that is a good book to use. Okay. So I also want to speak about, be excited about learning. The photos at the bottom here are those of some kids. So this a couple of years ago, and at CB5K, and we had some displays there for kids, and they were absolutely thrilled. Sometimes, guys, because you know you think you've quote unquote seen it all, there's no sense of excitement about learning. You know, there's no wow factor anymore. My challenge to you is get back that wow factor. Get it back, man. Work on getting it back. All right, I am wrapping up with some parting words. This one is important. You guys is a part of the process. Okay, there are things that you're going to fail at. Wow, that's not showing too well. There are things that you're going to fail at. Just recognize and understand that failure is an important part of the process of growth and success. Success has no sympathy. The truth of the matter is some of your situations are grave, some of your situations are boy, you don't have Wi-Fi and you don't have this and you don't have that and some other things are happening, and success has no sympathy. Sorry to say. you know Whatever is required to put in the work, put in the work. Whatever is required to get to where you want to go, you have to take those hard decisions to make it happen. All right. And then don't bargain with the price of success. It's going to cost you something. No one is giving you a degree. No one is handing anything to you on a silver platter. So you're going to have to put in the work. So don't bargain. Don't say, well, miss, boy, I don't want to have to do the entire lab. It's like I had a student in my preliminary class. At the start of the lab, so we're going through some stuff, some calculations, etc. The student is asking me, miss, do I have to stay? Can I just do the quiz? And I'm like, you've got to be kidding. So you need to recognize that you have to pay the price. Pay the price. And of course, I usually promote the Holistic Development Program, where we were learning from the book, The University of Success, etc. And that link, which is being blocked by the FST logo. I'm not sure what happened with that wasn't how it was originally. But anyway, yeah, you can just move the logo. Anyway, so that is the Holistic Development Program, where you can learn about other aspects of life. So we recognize that you need to know about other aspects of life, but also need to recognize what your focus is, where you're supposed to be, and how you're going to get there. Okay, the last thing that I want to say is this quotation about biting off more than you can chew. Sometimes you may think, boy, why me decide to go to chemistry? Chemistry of all things. And there's so many horror stories that we hear all around the place about chemistry. Now, study the failure rate is this and that. Who cares about the failure rate? You are an individual, and you need to, as an individual, take a decision about what is going to happen in your life. Okay? So we are in different stages of life.
Asap, you're here with me? I
All
think
right,
Dr.
hi.
G's connection went.
All right. Well, that was still an amazing presentation. Once again, everyone was in the comments. I saw lots of people saying that they feel
Indeed.
draped and they felt like she was talking directly to them, which is funny because same, honestly. Yeah, Alistair said facts, yes. So, in the meantime, I want to thank you guys for being with us for so long. We have two speakers left, but before we go on to them, I'm gonna do a quick giveaway, then hand back over to Nicalia. So this
Definitely.
giveaway, I'm not gonna call out the numbers. This is for the first person who can tell me what the 4 Ds of time management were that Dr. Gallimore presented on. So the 4 Ds of time management. Let me go to the comments. Okay. Oh, and this is a flow
Come on,
credit, by the
guys.
way. This is a flow credit, yes. Danielle said that is hard. was just getting great. I agree, Samantha. The presentation was amazing. But as you can see, we have a lot of great speakers tonight. So we have to make room for the rest. But we know that Dr. Gallimore is currently
Definitely.
taking, so you can always speak to her. So does anyone have the answer? Okay, so Michaela Miles, yes, do, defer, delete, and delegate. Yes, congrats, Michaela. That's the correct answer. So what I want you to do is message or DM our Instagram page, FST underscore UEMONA. So DM the page and let them know your name and tell them that you won this giveaway, and then you'll get the credit there. So thank you for participating, and I'm gonna hand back over to Michaela to introduce the next guest speaker.
Great. Thank you, Savannah. So I'm basically going to do what I did before. I'm going to call a number below the actual number. So here we go. 6, -1, 2, 5, 3, 8, 7, 4, 7, 4, 1, -1, and 7. You guys can just comment when you get it. I'm going to go straight ahead and put on our next speaker. She is well known to the university. That's a fact. She was the UEMONA Guild president in 2016-2017, and she was also the president of the Actuarial Society sometime as well. She is currently an educator and is the founder of Math with Tutoring. And I can tell you she's very good. So if you have smaller siblings and they're not doing so well in math, you can definitely reach out to her. Guys, help me welcome Miss Michaela Gonzalez. Hey, Michaela, what's good?
Hi everyone. I don't know if I'm going to be able to see the comments and everybody at the same time, but thank you so much for having me here. I can already see I think it was Dr. Gallimore that was on before, right? So she was talking about chemistry and the experiences and everything. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys want to start off by asking me any initial questions or if I should just, start by sharing my experience. You can let me know where we want to go the discussion because I also want to add some value, so I don't want to just repeat what maybe others have said.
You can start off with your experience and then we can start the discussion.
Okay, so as was rightfully said, I'm a past president for the. Is everybody hearing me by the way? Because I feel like it's delayed. It's fine. Okay, right. So I'm a past president for the Actuarial Society as well as a past guild president. I am probably not the typical psych student or maybe the student that Dr. Gallimore was telling you to be. So to be honest, when I just started UA and I heard about psych, I heard all the horror stories. That the failure rate high and that it's gonna be a disaster. To be honest, when I went in first year, it really was not as bad as everybody made it out to be. If it's one thing I would say to persons who are doing like CAPE now is like take it seriously because I feel like it makes first year so much easier. So to be honest, in terms of academically, my first year was actually pretty good. I got a 4.2 something GPA, which is like very close to 4.3, right? So that was a breeze, to be honest, but that's only because I took CAPE very seriously, right? And then at the same time, I had gotten involved with the guild. And I mean, I don't know, I've just always been the person to not really just be in the books or, just in terms of schoolwork. So I kind of ventured around UE. I realized that there's a lot outside of SciTech. I know for the persons who are probably coming into first year, if it's not everybody on the call, you're not on campus right now, so you won't get the full, first year experience. But when I just came, for the first couple months, we really just stayed in the faculty. So it was like second semester that I would have started to go around the campus, and then I realized, oh, like there's a whole other world happening. Like there's other clubs and societies that you can join. There is the guild, which I learned about. There are cultural events that are happening. There are parties that are happening. And so I was like, okay, this is pretty interesting. This is a little bit more like what you see on the TV in terms of college experience. So I said, all right, then let me try that out. That was very fulfilling. because then I learned a lot about myself. So I learned that I was very passionate about outreach and about student leadership. And I decided to, as I said, run for, at the time I ran for Guild EAC. So that's External Affairs Chairperson, which is the person in charge of getting everybody involved in outreach for UA. At the time, I was on the guild and I was a part of, I was the president for AXI. So of course that was not done before. Persons were telling me, like, you're going to take on too much, which I honestly will say, if I should be honest, it really was a lot. And I would tell persons, even though you want to do many things, like, don't stretch yourself too thin. So my thing is, I just wanted to do a little bit of everything, but I was not focused, I was not centered, I was not intentional. And for me, I feel like you need to be thinking, so yes, you can do a lot of things, but it has to be towards a goal. So not because you can do everything means you should do everything. And I don't really know how clubs and societies is going to work now that we're in Corona, but still sharing the advice anyways. But yeah, so that actually allowed me to not get my first class honors. So I got upper second and I actually missed it by just 0.1. But and even when I went to go and talk back to the teacher who, could have helped, he basically said no, because he knows that I was missing a lot of classes because I was on the guild and so forth. And he was just basically saying that, that was the choice I made. Hold on, let me just make sure everybody is. Oh, okay. Yeah, he was basically saying that's the choice I made. And that's just a life lesson I would have to learn. I think it was a very hard lesson, and I think we did really need to learn that, but so be it. So when I was doing the master's program now, that's the time I was guild president. So again, I met up on another thing where I was like, okay, I'm going to be taking on a lot again, but I made sure to try and not miss as many classes, make sure that, because you see, the thing is, I'm not sure if everybody here is like that, but I feel like I see a major difference in my grades and in terms of how much I have to study when I attend classes and like I'm paying attention while I'm in class. So it's not just you're attending class, but you're on social media, you're attending class, but you're watching a look at Netflix. No, especially because you guys are doing class online. That's why I make reference to, probably watching Netflix or doing other things while, being in class. You want to be focused because once you get it in there, you have less work to do outside of the classroom. But yeah, so I did get the distinction for econ. That was outside of the Faculty of Science and Tech. I will say that, guys, our faculty is a little bit harder than the other faculties, but not impossible, And there were other persons, even when I was doing actuarial science, there were other persons who they got their first class. So clearly it is possible. It's just a matter of you have to prioritize and you have to choose, where you want to go in life. You have to choose your friends wisely. If you realize that the people you're pairing around, what they're influencing you to do, you guys, again, you're not on campus for them to tell you, go into every Thursday or go and do this, but you may have friends who, instead of telling you, pay attention in class, like, they're messaging you on social media. So you're seeing the notifications come in and then you're checking that rather than paying attention in class. So if somebody is really your friend, they won't be doing that, and sometimes we have to hold ourselves accountable. We have to hold those people we call friends accountable, because if you need me well, then you're going to want me pay attention in class, So I would say, going into these unprecedented times, just be sure to, one, choose your friends wisely. I feel like you'll have to put up extra effort, because even me, as you guys heard, math is 2/3, shameless plug. Well, it's on this side, right? Shameless plug. I decided to, after doing the master's in economics, I was going to go into finance, but I realized that I just really love teaching math. It is just what I absolutely love to do. And I decided to take a chance on myself. So, I quit my job, well, like my formal job, and decided to become an entrepreneur. That has been going very well. But, I just saying that you have to decide what path you want to take. I know it's a little bit hard because I don't think in first year I knew exactly what I wanted to do. So I won't be unfair and say you should. But I feel like you may know what you're passionate about. I also think do not be in science and tech, or do not do or if you realize that after first year things aren't working out, do not be afraid to say for yourself and choose yourself and say, you know what, I may need to switch to another program, or I may need to switch to another faculty. I feel like most of the persons who struggle through SciTech and get the bare minimum is because their parents wanted them to be a particular profession. My parents want me to be a doctor, so I need to go through SciTech. my parents want me to be, engineer, but it's like, what do you want to do? And I feel like the quicker you are honest with yourself, especially in these COVID times, I think you'll learn a lot about yourself. You learn what you like, what you don't like listen to that voice, because it will allow for you to do better. Because I say to person, what if it is baking you love to do? If that's what you truly love to do, and you do it all of the purpose, all of the passion, everything you can, then you're gonna be successful. So it doesn't matter. I think we need to get out of this thing that you have to be a particular thing in life to be successful. Whatever it is, as long as you put in the work and you're passionate about it, I feel like it will work itself out. So I mean that's okay. I was just looking at some. Okay, I see that they're sharing the handle. Okay, somebody, let me just look at some of the comments while we're talking. Okay, so I see somebody asked me, like, how did I manage being president and in SciTech at the same time? I don't know if you meant SciTech of Axi Club, because I think that's when I was in SciTech. To be honest, it was very hard. And as I said, I don't think I managed it very well. I mean, yes, I was still doing good and I was still maybe smarter than others, but I know what I am capable of. And to be honest, I feel like as I said, when I missed the first class, I feel like I robbed myself, just because my academic standpoint is also very important to me. But as I said, everything is a choice. So for me, I can tell you what I wish I did differently. So because I was president and I would have to be, and I was on the guild at the same time, there are a lot of classes that I would have missed. That's something I would have done differently. In terms of the persons that I would have had, like in terms of friends for support, I feel like I would have associated myself with more persons who would have been able to help me. I don't think I was, responsible. So if I'm not going to class, I should have make sure say I know I have people in class who take proper notes and them on top of things so that they can cover my back. You know what I mean? But yeah, and I mean apart from that though, it was just making sure that I study, making sure that I knew from very early that I would have to put in extra work in comparison to other people. But yeah, so it's just a matter of just being honest with yourself. I would say though that my advice is don't take on too much, especially because science and tech is so demanding. Because it's like unlike the other faculties, we don't. It's not just okay, yeah, man. I can just study the night before and get pass. Like almost, and not just actuarial science, like chemistry, engineering, physics, everything over SciTech. It requires you to be on top of your game right throughout. So I would say that in terms of what I want to do in the future, I hope to be one of the best math teachers in Jamaica. I hope for math tutors to just be like one of the biggest things, not just in Jamaica, but in the Caribbean. I mean, majority of the persons I taught before the recent CSEC exams, because I did some free classes, I realized that there are so many people who are behind. And I mean, yes, we're in science and tech, so maybe most of you are good at math or didn't have an extremely bad experience, but a lot of people in our country right now are seriously failing at math, and it's simply because they didn't have somebody who was passionate about it and somebody who cared about it.
I think. Hi again, everyone. I think Michaela disconnected for a bit. Yes.
Okay, no, it's just I think I
Okay,
pressed
you're
something.
back.
Yeah, I think I pressed something else. Sorry.
You're back.
Okay, yes, I see somebody saying to manifest it. Okay, somebody asked what do I do when everything is overwhelming. So I always ensure that in any discussion I'm doing, any panel, I stress and I am a serious advocate for mental health, right? So while I was president of the guild, remember that's when I would have been doing my never done it. I would have been doing my masters. It was honestly really pressuring, and so that's when I actually developed anxiety attacks. To be honest, before that, I don't really think I don't want to say I didn't believe in them, but I guess sometimes unless you're actually going through something, you don't take it as serious. So to be honest, before that, I knew I heard of panic attacks, but I just simply never experienced it. And then there's a particular day, something was going hard, like just horribly wrong with the guild. And because I have asthma as well, I thought it was an asthma attack. But then it's like somebody around me was saying, because we got the pump and everything, and I said, no man, something is still wrong. And that's when somebody would have pointed it out to me that you're probably having an anxiety attack. And then it just became a common thing. And then I thought about going to therapy at first, but then there's a stigma against that as well, because you feel like, no man, so that means I'm admitting that something is wrong with me. So at the time I was not accepting of it, but then I decided to give it a chance. And guys, I can tell you that going to therapy it changed my life for the simple fact that I feel like I was allowed to live my truth, and I was allowed to say I'm not okay. And especially being a student leader, if any of you maybe were student leaders before, aspire to be leaders of our country one day, like we're humans. And I feel like, especially while being president of the guild, I mean, being president of AXA was one thing, but being president of the entire UE, I felt like I was required to be perfect. And I mean, heavy is the head that wear the crown. So I just decided to say no, like I can't seem weak. And for me, going to therapy just it made me feel weak at the time. Until I went to therapy and I embraced it. And the more I learned about myself, the more I learned about my triggers. So whenever I'm not, so I know for me, something that is a trigger for me is when I am not in control. And the thing with leadership is that it's unpredictable. To be honest, no matter how much you do for people, they will still, as I always jokingly say, it's like I feel like I would have fixed the road and then them tell me, Michaela, but the rain a fall, and then obviously I can't do nothing about that. So maybe I put up a shed and then them say, no, Michaela, but now the sun too hot, and then it's something else and it's something else, and you'll just never be able to please everybody. So whether you're in student leadership or it's just the everyday life, I just feel like we need to get to a point to realize you cannot please everybody, and everybody will not like you, and that is fine. That is actually fine, because most of the times we get anxious is because we're anticipating and we're thinking about what other persons are going to think about us. And it's not just haters and people who don't like us. Like, this can be family members. Sometimes you're afraid to maybe know that you're failing. I've seen so many of my friends while we were doing AXI, them failing, them sad, everything, but they can't go to their parents because I will let my parents down, and it makes them so anxious and all of that. And I know, like, we should be able to your happiness comes first. And I don't know if it's just with age, I've been appreciating that more. But you just realize that you can't put your happiness in anybody else's control, because nobody else is gonna take, and nobody else should need to take that up. Like, that is your responsibility. So for me, I would just say, when I became overwhelmed is when I decided to go to therapy. And and then I think I got to a place where I could somewhat control my anxiety. And I don't really want to say control, but I think by realizing where the triggers were coming from, I was able to say, okay. So after guild presidency finished, they decreased, by far. Many of you will have romantic relationships. At the time, I was in a very stressful romantic relationship, not only because of the other person, but even just where I was in terms of my growth and everything. So I would say to you guys as well, be mindful of that. So you need to be mindful of your friendships, your family, your romantic relationships, your relationships at school in terms of just peers. Like, you need to be focusing on, like, every person that you end up connecting with or coming in contact with, you need to be mindful of how they affect your peace and your energy. If somebody comes around and you feel like your energy off, something is wrong. Figure out what that is and fix it very fast. And even though I can tell you that, so the panic attacks have stopped for a while, and even recently I had to start back therapy. So it's not that you will have to do it forever, but I think at any stage in your life when you become overwhelmed, like, just be okay to, even if you want to go to therapy, because I understand not everybody will be open to that at first, but be open to maybe finding a friend that you can really trust and confide in. I don't mean you go to somebody and you tell them half of the story. Like, you're not going to get true revelation until you're able to tell somebody your whole truth, So that would be my answer to that. Somebody said oxide sadness is a different level of sadness. That is very true. Okay, so somebody asks, how would I define personal branding? Oh, I see another person. Hi, Daniel. How would I define personal branding, and how can we work on it? I feel like I'm working on this myself. However, somebody that I use as inspiration is Terry Carell. She's one of my mentors, and I think she has mastered this, to be honest. But in terms of defining your personal brand, so it's like no. I think everybody when they think of me, I realize that person start to call me the Matthews, you know. So I think it's very important to think about words that you want when people hear your name. That's what they think about. And then, funny enough, I was just before now watching, there's a new documentary out on Netflix about, social media and how you can use it to manipulate and, influence people and how they're even doing that to us. But social media is not all bad. There is some good to it. So I think this is one way you can use it for good. So when I figured out that okay, I can play on this whole Matthews thing, I decided to just plug it everywhere. So in any way that I can, I always choose to plug in that I am the Matthews, and it just sticks. So even if yes, when I say I'm the Matthews, that sounds like I'm the best person ever in math. That is probably not true. However, it's just about branding, and that's what brands do. Think about it when you're watching an advertisement. They make you feel like it's the best thing since sliced bread, whether it is or is not. So it's just about the story you sell, And it doesn't always have to be a bad story. You get to choose what is your good story. So in terms of being intentional with your post, so now I make sure, or maybe persons would realize that I post a lot less personal stuff, and it's everything you see is me pushing Matthews, and that's very intentional. So even when it is something personal, it's still something that's promoting Matthews or something related to, oh, she's the math person. If it's something even unrelated to math, I find a way to make my voice heard as the math person. So I think it's a matter of you needing to sit down and say, okay, when person's here, Daniel, what word do I want to come to their mind? And then find ways to plug it. Plug it in Twitter, Instagram, whatever the platforms you use. Find ways to plug it in. You know what I mean? And it's not a matter of having 1,000 followers or 1,000,000 followers, but it's a matter of, okay, the persons who do follow you, are you able to make an impression on them? Like, is it that if tomorrow, so let us say you want to be known as the baker, you may have a lot of followers, but is it that the persons who do follow you, if they need a baker, you are the person that they call for baking? If that's the case, then you're doing what you need to do, and the followers and etc. will come. And how you can work on it, I really think it's a matter of being intentional. I think that was one of the main, like advice I got from Terry. It was a matter of saying you need to be intentional. So sit down and think about what's the story you're going to use or the story you're going to tell using your platform. And to be honest, guys, that changed everything for me. I'm pretty sure if you look on my social media, you'll literally see the change and see how it feels now, maybe in comparison to before. Or you can just look at my social media and see if by looking at it, remember, whoever goes on my social media, they don't get to talk to me immediately. So I need to ensure that the minute they go on my page, the message is very clear. What am I about? What do they contact me for? What am I trying to be known for? So I think that's something that can be done. Okay, I actually like that question about boundaries. Can we get that question up, or do I just read it out? Because I'm not sure if everybody's seeing it. Somebody asked, as a student, how do you go about setting boundaries and completing your schoolwork, along with other things? So for me, I'm not so good at boundaries. I'm getting better at them. My therapist now, she's actually telling me, like that's the main thing I need to work on. But what I will say I've always been consistently good at, it is planning and organizing my life to the T. Hence my anxiety when things are not going how they should, right? But something I've realized that helps me. So I have a task manager thing on my phone. So what I try to do is everything. I think where persons go wrong is that when we say to make a timetable or a schedule, I think what people think is that you need to put 2 o'clock to 2:30 study math, 3 to 3:30 study English. I feel like whenever you do that, because life is so unpredictable, the minute you don't hit it at that time, it's like you automatically feel defeated. Versus just putting down maybe 3 things that you think you can achieve for the day, and it's like whatever free time comes up, you know that okay, yes, I do this, I was supposed to get this done. I found that that works a lot better than me putting. So I made the to-do list just without time constraints, and then it's like if something is not done today, I roll it over to tomorrow. And but the point is, I'm seeing everything in terms of the layout of okay, this is what I told myself I would do, and then it also holds me accountable because if at the end of the week I realize everything roll over, then I have to say, boy, something needs to get dropped. You understand? But yeah, so in terms of boundaries, I would say finding out, how to keep track of your task. In terms of boundaries, I think you should maybe do a week of experimenting to see what is your biggest distractor. For some people, it might be a phone. So maybe you need to, I know like some persons that they can do something with like the apps so that it's locked for a certain amount of time. So you can do that so that if you personally cannot not go on Instagram and Twitter, you can have something that forces you to do it. So that would be useful. For some persons, I know it's the group of friends who may just always be around them. So while you on the schoolwork, they want to talk and gallivant. So maybe you may need to, and I understand that everybody is not good at saying no. I was also not good at saying no at some point. So maybe you just need to find a new environment. So it's almost as if they can't find you. So then you're not really forced to say no. That's if you're not at that place just yet. Just telling you little things that I would have had to do. So you just rather than going to library A, you go to library B because so nobody can find you there. But I think it ultimately comes down to you and figuring out what's your biggest distractor and then eliminating it. A lot of the times you act as if we don't know what the problem is, but most times you know exactly what's distracting you. You know exactly what feels like you cannot manage it. And that is why we have this gut feeling. So you just need to follow it. Most times, if you follow it, you will be just fine. I see that somebody's leaving, so bye bye. Daniel, I'm not draping you at all, at all, at all. I would love to get a question from Danielle. Guys, I'm so proud of her. To be honest, I met her, I think, right before she started the campaign in terms of, I don't know, my spirit just took her and I was rooting for her and everything. But I think you guys have a great SciTech rep this year. I know she's going to do amazing things. She actually reminds me a lot of myself when I was in SciTech. I remember I met her as well. I think she came to an AXI meeting, if I remember correctly. And, she said she does a lot of stuff. But I think she's a phenomenal woman. I actually think she'll be guild president one day. But that's just me throwing it out in.
Hi, what's happening?
Guys, that was my bad. Let me tell you. So, I think a fun fact, right? Which may be funny. As much as I'm in science and tech, guys, I'm actually not very good at technology. I'm actually almost like an old person when it comes to technology. So, if I should be honest, I feel like I keep on pressing something, but that's just the old person in me. So, I do apologize. Yeah, it's probably not the internet. I won't people blame Flo tonight. It's probably me. If I should be honest, it's probably me. What did you say? I never liked. Oh. If I was about sorry, I never like to post. Yeah, guys, I'm not good at this technology thing at all. Okay, I don't know if there are any more questions. I don't really want to be pressing that thing and then I'm making anything else happen. So, guys, just manage the questions because I feel like I'm going to click this thing off again. You are most welcome, Danielle. Is anybody else having anything else that's, I guess, worrying them? Anything that maybe was not, touched on tonight that you want to have addressed? Could be something that you think maybe you're like, maybe I shouldn't even ask something like that, but there's no bad question. Thank you, Dr. Gallimore. Guys, it's so funny. I'm very close to Dr. Gallimore, and she has always been like a second mommy to me. But it's like she's in chemistry, and I'm not exactly sure when, we became close or anything. But yeah, Dr. Gallimore has just always been one of those people from SciTech that I love because I'm not good at chemistry. I've never passed grade 9. It was not for me, but I don't know. Dr. Gilmore just always found herself being an inspiration to me as well. Okay, I see somebody's joining me that they also are not so great at the technology. I am the same, trust me. Before I came on, I had to make sure like I test the if you have in the AirPods and things, guys, I get them today. I was just like, oh boy, like stressed now. So I had to make sure that all of this was set up because usually it's a lot of cords and then but don't worry guys, I got it together and I'm here. So it's good. I don't know if anybody else has any other questions. Are you guys feeling okay? Well, I mean, probably not because it's Corona, but how are you guys feeling? Are you feeling ready?
So thank you so much, Michaela. Our hosts actually have some Wi-Fi issues now, that's why they dropped out.
Okay, so you just
Well,
took
thank you
over.
so much. You have been, it's so inspirational. Everybody's in the comments and also in our group chat just saying, wow, she's really touching some serious points, especially about mental health. And that's very important to us as student leaders and as the FST Guild Committee and as everybody overall, as a SciTech student, a UE student, a person, So thank you so much.
No problem at all, Danielle.
All right, cool. Enjoy your night.
Okay, bye everyone.
Okay, so up next we have our current guild president, Mullings Not Runnings. Yes, Dr. G, that is indeed true. But guess what? It's not just me, it's the entire team. And right now we're about to meet the person who is the head of the entire guild council, which is none other than Mr. Sujay Boswell. He is involved in a wide range of youth activities, more than I could even list right now. So guess what? I'm going to let him come on and we're going to just allow him to introduce himself and speak to some of what he's done. I'm seeing that he may have tuned out. He's back. All right, great. Sujay?
Hi. Daniel,
All right, cool. So it's over to you,
the
Sujay. I know you're going to be speaking.
it's Mona Connect. I hope you hear me.
Yeah, no problem. So you'll be speaking on networking and just how to still build and still be involved.
Then you hear me?
So I'll hand over to you.
Listen through. Daniel, you hear me?
So we're hearing you. All right, Sujay, we're hearing you. Can you hear us? Well, it seems that we're having some technical difficulties, everybody, but it's the big guild president that will be speaking to you. So just gonna give him some time to just get it sorted. But in the meanwhile, how are you feeling? How have the conversations been so far? I want to see some comments in the comment section, just speaking to what has inspired you so far. You've heard from myself, Christina Williams, past guild president, Miss Michaela Gonzalez, past guild president. You've heard from Santana Morris. You've heard from Dr. Gallimore. You've heard from your HOD in chemistry. I think all of the conversations are really coming together and speaking to a common message of finding what works for you, mentally, socially, and also I think the importance of a support group that has been coming across as well, and the importance of self-development and being on top of your game for you, not only in all the different things that you want to get involved in and want to do, but also how are you actively working to develop yourself. So a lot of important messages coming across. I would love to see some comments just saying what spoke to you thus far. What is something that made you say, wow, while we wait for Mr. Boswell or guild president to come on? All right, looks like Prezi is back. Prezi?
Hi, Daniel. Can you confirm that you're hearing me?
Yes, all right, great. So Sujay will be speaking on networking and basically how to get involved as a student. So I'll hand over to him and let him give you some tips.
Thank you very much, Daniel. I must firstly applaud the students from chemistry for organizing this event. I've been tuned in from evening, and I think that it has been excellently organized activity, and there has been many notes of learning coming from this engagement this evening. I firstly must apologize in the event that the Wi-Fi chips out. I'm still using Mona Disconnect, and I hope that I'm not disconnected as per usual when you're using this type of Wi-Fi situation. Um, but I want to just talk about networking and how it adds value to you. Now, one of the fundamental things about networking is that you must understand who you are, because in order to network properly, you must first have an idea as to who you are as an individual and what do you like, what do you want to be a part of, what do you see that you can add value to, and how are you going to exactly be adding that type of value. Because at the end of the day, if you're networking, your aim is to network with persons who have like-minded interests. And so understanding the things that you want to be a part of, it sets an early pace in terms of what you achieve and how you achieve it. Now, many persons, they think about networking and think that, oh, well, I just need to know this person, I just need to know that person. But there's no similarities, there's no overlapping interests. And so when you network with somebody, say you meet somebody, there's that great disconnect that comes about because there's no common ground. And a significant part of networking is establishing common ground. And so in your days of networking and as you grow into the university space, one of the things I always encourage my peers to do is to try to meet persons from different faculties, for example. Because the reality is, as we grow, the commonality is that we will be the persons who are in society in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years. We'll be the persons who are leading the change, who are the persons who are developing software, the persons who are finding medicine and establishing new protocols in the country. And so the network that you build from a university perspective is a lifelong network, and it's going to be a long-term value added to your own lives. And so from a university perspective, again, the cross-faculty engagement is important. Now, the challenge is that now the online dispensation of academic learning and teaching, we are now put in a position that we have to find innovative ways to network. And so it's very important that how you manage yourself in this new method of teaching and learning, how you carry yourself online is going to be very important. And so establishing an online presence, establishing an online brand is going to be important, because what I go on your page and see, or what you come on my page and see, is what you judge by. And so how you shape your profile online is going to be important, because the reality is the online platforms shape differently as to how you'd be meeting persons. So one of the things that you would always say is that you create your own resume, and your online platform is your own personal resume. You create the storyboard, you create what people see or what people think about you when they come to your pages. And so how you shape those things now is very important, and it will affect how you network in the future. The other thing that I want to talk about is being present and having presence. Now, a lot of people believe that just being present at an engagement or being present at an activity means that they have presence. It's two different things, because you can be somewhere, but you being there does not impact anybody else, and you being there does not make any form of difference. However, on the other hand, having presence and being present means that one, you're there in person, whether it be physically, whether it be virtually, but your contribution to the engagement is something that is felt. And persons can leave with the belief that, well, this is somebody that have sense and I need to be around that person. Or somebody can believe that, oh, that person is shy and they won't be adding any value to me. Because I can tell you, when I was in high school, Empress Golding would have come to Monroe, and we're there, we talk, conversation, and then she said to me, one day I want you to come and work with me. And the very first year that I started UE, I was able to get $50,000. Well, it was 500 US a month on the project that she was running. And it was not because I was more special than anybody else, but it's because of the engagement that we had when she was there. So being present and having presence means that you are felt in terms of your engagement, in terms of your body language. Person must look at your body language and say, well, that person knows what they're about. Because that plays a very silent part of networking. That is a part of networking that you're not speaking. Because somebody will look at you, and again, as I made mention to it earlier, your online platform and your online presence will be somewhat emblematic of what your physical presence is like. And so, even though it may be misleading, but it does somewhat represent what you would be like, right? So that is very important. So being present and having presence is something that is critical in a networking situation. Now, a lot of people, when they think about networking, they always think about what is in it for me. That is something that people think about very, very readily. What is it in it for me? And we forget that being in a network means that it is everyone help one, or each one help one, or every link counts, right? And in a network, the expectation is that you're going to be value adding. And so nobody expects to have a leech, because the minute you're seen or identified as a leech, it means that somebody's going to want to put you on the network, or they're going to want to pull that link. Because the reality is, if you're always asking and you're not adding benefit to anybody in any way, or adding value to anybody in any way, then you're going to be more so parasitic than more what do you call it now? You help me, my chemistry people. What do you call that? Symbiotic relationship. So being more symbiotic or being more helpful to other persons, it may be more value adding. And so you'll always start from a value added position rather than from a position that, oh, I want your help with X, or I want your help with Y. It must be, well, I have a skill at X, and I believe that this may add value to your organization, or this may add value to you if you include in this proposal, in this activity, engagement, because that is what it is. It is not about, oh, well, Moy, help me with XYZ, or I want you to help me with this, and then that is it. People expect that in a network, it will be everybody helping each other, right? And so that is something that is fundamental to networking. Now, I heard Michaela speaking earlier about personal branding, and I was making the point that Michaela, when she was guild president, she never liked to post anything at all. She used to just do it, and then that is it. And it's something that we always had a conversation about. Now, importantly, your personal branding is very, 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 very critical, because people are going to judge you by what you do. And your branding is more than how you look, it is how you speak, it is about how you dress, it is about how you engage persons, it's about how you sit in a room. Every single thing that is done adds to your personal branding. And so I want to implore you all, students of the Faculty of Science and Technology, more so the Department of Chemistry that is here, I want to implore you that you be very considerate and be very thoughtful about what you do, whether it be online, within the online space, as if you tweet something, if you post something on Instagram, it may very well affect your potential to network in the future. So I see that I'm getting time signal, and I don't want to run out of time. I must say I was impressed by the list of speakers, by the persons who spoke earlier. And again, this is a very good engagement, and I'm very happy as the guild president now to see that we've been able to, in this new unprecedented new normal times, that we've been able to create a forum like this, again, the Department of Chemistry, to engage our students, to help them to understand the things that are needed, advance as university students, as well as to be productive members of our society. So this again is a very commendable initiative, and I want to commend both the faculty representative, Ms. Danielle Mullings, as well as the members of the chemistry department. And I look forward as your guild president to work with you, and I remain committed, and the guild remains committed to engaging you as students of the University of the West Indies to ensure that you're properly represented in all activities that we do. So I'll take some questions now. All right, I'm looking for some questions.
All right, no one hasn't commented just yet. All right, my question is, how do you what do you consider, or how importantly do you consider being involved in societal activities?
Well, I think every single student of the University of the West Indies must be engaged in some way in terms of the society as a whole, because many may not say it. It has been a public conversation that students at university are seen as intellectual minority or the articulate minority. And so, as the ones who are seen as articulate minority, we kind of have a responsibility to not only Jamaica, but for those from regional countries, for our regional countries and regional islands, we have a duty to basically help to shape the conversation nationally. So, for example, no, the coronavirus is something that is there. It's personal. It's individual. It is not only individual, but it is also something that relates to everybody because we're affecting each other. How do we as a university, or how do we as students at University of the West Indies, engage in a national discourse, encouraging persons to wear a mask, encouraging persons to wear to social distance, encouraging persons to sanitize? So we as students at university have a very critical role to play in having the conversations, in promoting the conversations, in terms of volunteering, because again, we have different experiences from other people coming to university. We're exposed to different cultures, we're exposed to different ideologies, and so we have an opportunity to challenge some of the things that are happening in society. Customs is one of those things, but for too long has the university students been seeing as being concerned with only things that affect us directly. I think that is something that we have to change. That narrative is something that we have to push to be different. And as students at University of the West Indies, we must take the leadership to ensure that that is something that we change holistically.
Well, true. So, guys, if you have a question, you can just quickly comment it so that Sujay can answer you.
Okay, I see a question from Alistair, I believe. How has it been president in these times? Being president in time of COVID is certainly not what any president would want to be. However, we all, as candidates, as all guild councillors, we all would have signed up for responsibility. And even though the responsibilities may have been somewhat reshaped, the fundamentals of being on the guild remains the same, because our duty is to represent students' interest. And so, regardless of COVID, regardless of dengue, regardless of whatever disease is out there, whatever virus is out there, our duty to represent the students' interest remains the same. And so, very early in the tenure, we had to be challenging the University of the West Indies Mona campus, as well as the University Hospital of West Indies, about the COVID liability waiver form that they were asking our students to sign, that were doing ward rounds. And that is something that we had to challenge. Again, that was very new. That was something that no other president had to encounter, because this was something that directly related to COVID-19. But as a guild council, we're committed to advocacy. We're committed to ensuring that the students' interests and the students' welfare is of paramount importance, not only to us as the guild, but also to the university administration as well as the government. And so you can be rest assured that as president, my mandate is something that is linked directly to your welfare as students. And as the guild council, we're even more greater concerned about how your interests are represented in the different platforms that exist.
Okay, and I'm seeing where someone commented saying to be the change, which is indeed true.
All right, so I
I
see a
see you have
question.
another question.
Right, when will finalizing students who took courses this summer have their degrees awarded? So the thing about this whole period is just a different type of period. So had it been regular circumstances, the degrees would have been awarded from September 1. Now, some persons' degrees have actually been awarded from September 1, depending on when they got their grades. Now, that conversation is ongoing because we're trying to get them out before the mid-semester period starts. And I know, for example, our students who want to enter the master's program, they have been having a particular difficulty because they have not gotten their permission in terms of their graduation. So that is something I know is of particular concern to our students who want to get into the master's program. So that is something that we're pushing through. Hopefully by mid-October, end of October, we can get some finalization of the persons who should be awarded their degrees for that period. I know some students are also concerned. You never asked a question, but some students are also concerned about graduation. The idea for graduation will be January. It will be somewhat of a mixed approach. I'm not sure if you guys had seen the matriculation ceremony. The matriculation ceremony, somewhat of a mixed approach where the top matriculant was in the room. She signed the document, and there were other representatives from the cohort that were there. It will be somewhat similar for graduation, where some students will be present. It won't be the entire cohort of students. It may be 10 students at maximum. And there will be some form of visual and virtual engagement for the graduation period. So graduation is set for January. The university had submitted some dates, and so that is also on the table. As leaders, what are your advice to us on adapting to different changes? So as student leaders, and it's not only just adapting to the change, but something fundamental that I think we should all understand is to not take yourself too seriously. Because being a student leader means that you are a leader because you're a student. That is the whole essence of student leadership. And being a student leader means that your time as a student leader is transient. It is very much transient. And so with the whole fact that you are going to be a leader for a particular time, it is very much important that you do not take it too seriously. It means that you don't burn bridges because you consider yourself to be a student leader. It's very much important that you remain focused with the challenges that exist now, because it's very easy to be distracted. The COVID situation is one that we can see has been very fluid. It changes on a day-to-day basis. I mean, one day we have SAS open, next hour we hear that SAS closed. 1 minute I tell a student, yeah, SAS is open, you can go over there, and then the next hour I check, SAS is closed because of COVID situation. It requires somewhat of flexibility. It requires great communication. It's something that's going to be very much important, because the absence of communication means that chaos is easy to be bred, and chaos is not something that you want. You want to be communicating with students in a timely manner. You don't want to rush the communication because you don't want to communicate incorrect information. You want to double check the information they're communicating. I can tell you, for example, personally, I made a tweet and I had September 32 instead of September 22. Now, clearly, there's no September 32, but it could have caused problems because there was somewhat of a level of. It's a good thing that I picked it up early. So you want to ensure that you engage students, you want to engage your peers, you want to make sure that the communication is flowing in a consistent manner. You want to ensure that you are focused on your academic pursuit again, because again, you're a student before you're a leader in this context. And so you want to be sure that you're not putting your student affairs and academic affairs at a disadvantage just because you're serving your peers. Should you only network with people who are in your field, pursuing, or be open to networking with anyone? Again, I believe that if you're networking, your network should be, it must be a cadre of persons. I don't think it should be only within your fields, because again, for example, at University of the West Indies, you have students from different fields. You're going to have politicians here, you're going to have doctors here, you're going to have nurses here, you're going to have, so you will have a wide range of persons to network with, and in some way they can potentially affect your life. And so it makes sense you only network with one particular set of persons and leave the others. You also want to network with your lecturers. I think that's something that we've not been encouraging our students to do, because the reality is the networking with your lecturers, it makes a big difference. The lecturers are persons who are considered professionals in their different fields. I have a lecturer named Dr. Waller. Sorry, Professor now. Professor Waller. Professor Waller was once the chair of the e-government board. He is the advisor to the Minister of Tourism. He's a lecturer in government. He does a lot. And so you'll find that even your own faculty in chemistry, you'll find lecturers who are competent in their duties as lecturers, but they play other roles. And so networking with them is also critical. How have you been handling this online schooling, and how does it remain focused in such a time? The truth about it for me is that I never really liked face-to-face classes. I would have, especially in my undergrad program, I would have gone to classes sometimes. I would have been somebody who was very much engaged in regional activities, so it took me traveling a lot during my undergrad program. And so I would also always be using the YouTube Academy I would have watched videos to catch up on what I wanted to learn. And then I would have prepared myself adequately for that. And so for me, the online learning environment is not something that is new to me, because that is exactly how I would have practiced my undergraduate program. And so personally, I don't feel disadvantaged by the program. Um, I think that is something that I can work with. I know that there are students who have difficulties and challenges in terms of accessing devices, as well as to accessing internet access. And so I know for many students that is something challenging, and we have spoken to the administration about reintroducing the tablet program as well as the laptop program. And so that is coming back on stream. There was something that was sent out today about it, and the Guild is also seeking resources to equip the program. So I know that that is some of the distractions that come for students regarding the program, and I know there are household problems as well, because in some houses, I know in some homes, the student, the university student, is the one who is seen as the person that needs to help the younger brother, the person who needs to wash the dishes, the person who needs to do so much that we can't even call here. And so it is very much important that we speak to our parents and have an honest conversation about, yes, we're online, and yes, I'm here physically, but the difficulties that come. And so we have to have that honest conversation with our parents. Some of us have greater difficulties than just the parental situation. And I know, and the online counseling service is also here for you. And I'd want for you to engage it. The Guild will be launching on something very, 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 very novel very soon. And I think that it's going to be something that you can access. And I'm not sure if the faculty committee wants me to announce it here, or even the exec wants me to announce it here. But we'll be rolling out a partnership very, very soon. Further to the miscellaneous, to accessing the insurance scheme in your different parishes, we'll be also engaging in telehealth medicine. Um, Daniel today was speaking at UN General Assembly about it. Well, she didn't mention to this particular thing, but she was talking about the importance of using digital health and digital health technologies. And so the Guild has engaged in a conversation with MD Link, and so our students will be very soon able to access the telemedicine and consultations from the different countries that they're in. And so this Guild Council remains committed to working with you, our students, to listening to you, to listen to the issues that you have, and working in your interest. And remember, you're a part of the Guild network. And so networking starts with us, because at the end of the day, the Guild Council is made up of the Guild of students. And so you have a very critical and very important role as our greatest stakeholders in the activities of the Guild Council. So I see the wrap up has come. I want to thank you again for inviting me, and all the best on your academic pursuits.
Thank you so much for coming here and speaking with us. It's greatly appreciated. And I'm sure the students, as you see, they had a lot of questions coming in, so I am definitely sure that they appreciated that. Alright, guys, we're basically at the end of the session. Unfortunately, the guest artist cannot be here, for it is beyond my control. So we're at the end of the session, and I'd like to give a huge thank you to all of you who took the time out to join us. I want to thank the tech team that has been here all evening. I'd like to big up the PRO team here, big up the chemistry subcommittee, and yeah, I'd like to thank God for making this event successful. And I'd also like to just thank everyone again. Peace out. Oh, my bad. So he finally made it. Eddie.
Oh, go on. Yeah, break up. I don't know if it's my internet, but
Burns, how are you?
I'm good. Yeah, break up. So I don't know if my internet bad or your internet bad. Probably mine still. This is my first time on this platform, so I don't know what I'm supposed to be seeing. I don't know.
Hi, I'm just coming on to tell you that everything is good. So when you're ready, you can just do what you came to do.
Everything good. So I'm here for the mic.
Yeah, man, everything good from this part. It's her internet that's breaking up.
Okay, cool. Because it's saying everyone can see and hear me. So
yes,
me can't see nobody and me can't hear nobody. So I know if I'm one there.
No, man, you're good, man. We have about 35 people watching in now.
All right, give thanks to other people. Blessed to the 35 people that are here. My name is Melbourne Douglas, but I go by the stage name D Burns. I'm a resident advisor at the Elsa Leorani Hall. I am pursuing a Master of Arts in Cultural Studies. I am a performer and entertainer. And this evening, we just want to share some inspiration and some entertainment with everybody. Zine, no, I know this whole thing is about a little bit of motivation and how to survive during COVID-19. Boy, it's rough. It's rough. We know it's rough and it's tough. But what I do to survive is I do what I love. You understand? I take my time doing my love. I spend some time to do what I love. And thankfully for me, what I love, I can do right here in my own little space, which is music. So I'm going to share some music with you that some of them I personally produced in terms of the beat. I made the beat and write the song and everything. I'm unable to do it in the way that I wanted to because we have some technical difficulties. But nevertheless, we're going to share some love and we're going to share some energy. You know what I mean? So, all right. Because we're talking to university students, this is the first one I'm going to share. Zine, and with this one, I just want to implore everybody, don't sit down and hungry. Zine? Just a minute, may I have some technical difficulties and I don't know why. Let me just fix that and we'll go on. So you know the thing about COVID-19 time and everything now, a computer this and computer that. So as I say, just some minor technical difficulties because I'm doing everything on my own tonight. I never wanted to do it that way. But like I said, you don't know the thing of quarantine and curfew and something. So my DJ couldn't be here. So me I try to match it up. I'm trying to be a DJ at the same time I be an artist. You understand? So me I try to double up. That's the thing that COVID-19 has done to us. No one person if I try to 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 things. You know what I mean? So let me see if we get it right now. What is this? What's happening with this? Finally, it's ready now. So this one is called Now Sit Down and Hungry. Zine, come follow me now. Hey, hey, hey. Me now sit down and hungry. So this one is called Now Sit Down and Hungry. And it goes something like this. It's hard to know, say me I go spend 5 years at university. And when me get me degree, society now go have no work for me. Jah know it hurt for see me brother them sit down a yard. Full of qualifications, but still can't get no job. I wonder if the same thing I go reach me. No, matter of fact, make me dismiss that thought quickly. Cause can't go back and me yard when me come off a hall. But me nah sit down and ball. Me rather set up a stall. Me nah sit down and hungry. If university no work, cause money have to make whether town or country. And so me nah afraid to till the dirt and dirty up me shirt. Nah sit down and hungry. If university no work, cause money have to make whether town or country. So me nah afraid to till the dirt and dirty up me shirt. Nah sit down and hungry. So me want ensure say una sing this on the yard. We nah sit down and hungry, scene. Cause when me preach the facts, me nah go get no bank work. Cause me have me locks and even though me have the English and the maths. And in the banking and finance, me have a bachelor's. Hey. but degree can't eat. That's why Jebatan a step in at the streets. Long as you have health and strength, 2 hands and 2 feet, don't sit down and hungry. If university no work, cause money you have to make, whether town or country. Because me not afraid to till the dirt and dirty up me shirt. Now sit down and hungry. If university no work, cause money you have to make, whether town or country. And so me not afraid to till the dirt and dirty up me shirt. Now sit down and hungry. So, as me say, this one is a little bit of inspiration. Don't sit down and hungry. Understand? Especially now, in a COVID time, we can't sit down and hungry. So we have to find creative ways. Creative ways to excel. You understand? So sing it with me. Me not sit down and hungry. If university no work, as money you have to make, whether town or country. And so me not afraid to till the dirt and dirty up me shirt. Now sit down and hungry. If university no work, as money you have to make, whether town or country. And so me not afraid to till the dirt and dirty up. Fire full now sit down and hungry. If university no work, cause money you have to make, whether town or country. And so me not afraid to till the dirt and dirty up me shirt. Now sit down and hungry. If university no work, as money you have to make, whether town or country. And so me not make sure not sing it a yard, you know. Boom. Me not sit down and hungry. If university no work, I'm money you have to make, whether town or country. And so me not afraid to till the dirt and dirty up me shirt. Now sit down and hungry. If university no work, I will not stand up and hungry neither, Zine. I will not lie down and hungry, Zine. So, as me say, COVID-19, it put me in a peculiar situation. You understand me? I say, and now more than ever, we can't afford to sit down and hungry. You understand? So my message to you is, as university students, we get a higher level of education, or tertiary level education, we should be more qualified than some others who are not afforded this opportunity. You understand me? I say, so we more than ever not supposed to sit down and hungry, if you understand me. I say, given all the opportunities that we get here at the University of the West Indies. You see me? The premier institution of higher learning in the Caribbean and to some extent in the world. Zin? So that's one of my songs, that's one of my messages to you. Don't sit down and hungry. I hope you all can hear me good. If you can't hear me good, give me a flames emoji if you can't hear me good and you can't hear the lyrics and you can't hear the rhythm good. Just give me a flames emoji. We just want some flames emoji just to confirm so you can hear me good. Because remember, say, me can't hear you and me can't see you, so I don't know what going on. All right, Kimani Shah, give thanks for that. That means you can't hear everything good. You understand? Because we just want to make sure the rhythm don't louder than the vocals and the vocals don't louder than the rhythm and so forth. You understand? We just want to ensure everything balanced because balance is necessary. Daniel, Nicole, me see you, big up yourself. Thanks for the flame. Flames me want to do. Don't just one flame. See? Give thanks. Money, oh my son, talk to me now. All right, cool. So, let me draw for your next song now. Let me draw for your next song now. Let me see which song I draw for now. All right, cool. So, the song you're going to draw for now, the song you know, again, it's because I think all of my music is inspirational in some way because all of my music has a message, right? So, I have a song now I talk about car. You understand? I have a song now I talk about car. But, again, it's an inspirational message. I want to inspire all of the youths them where they in the chat. Don't sell out for $1 million car. Don't put your hat where you can't reach it. You understand? If what you can afford is a Tida, buy a Tida. Don't buy a Benz and then you can't put gas in it. Don't buy a Markex and then you can't put gas in it. You understand? So my next message is don't sell out for $1 million car. Run it, D-Burns! In the meantime, between time. Whoa! So this one is called $1 million car. Watch me, man. Boom! Say one time is a little bicycle man a chopping on the streets. More while I base concrete. You will light and me still not see the Benz. They be my body under when me in a jala say me look neat. White Civic E-K3 big up the click. And every car cruise same speed. Cause me music a kick and petrol in a me tank. And a nice body girl they on the front. You're not the driver. $1 million car from your have 4-wheel. Everything get real. Long as it insure. Papers up to date and your AC your work and your nah leak. Whether you buy cash one time or you never have all of the money, so you pay down feet. But don't be a fool. Run go buy car and a iPhone. You don't have a yard where you sleep. Don't sell out. Happy no $1 million car. Happy no $1 million car. Me want a house. So keep your $1 million car. So keep your $1 million car. Me not sell out. Happy no $1 million car. Happy no million. Want to listen to the second verse. Kill the Zane, cause some boy I run down markets. You know. Boom! If you can't afford the markets, don't run it down. Car there and you can't buy gas, cause your money done. Better you settle with a sunny sun. One of the nice B14, them like Romy 1. Keep it clean, add little sheen. Use a marana, rub it down. Pull up in the place and turn up the bass. Play a couple girl, bass girl. Happy touch the ground. You not fi drive $1 million car from your half 4-wheel. Everything get real. Long as it insure, papers up to date. AC your work and your roof now leak. Whether you buy cash one time or you never have all of the money, so you pay down faith. But don't be a fool and run go buy car and a iPhone. You don't have a yard where you, so don't sell out. Happy no $1 million car. Say no $1 million car, me want a house. So I me happy no $1 million car. Happy no $1 million. I watch it now. You see on the second verse, it's after all of my people them. We go for work and travel and know, so when you come back, your money after your school fee. But no make zoom, make you buy from when done you can't pay you with them school fee. Better if you go and take bus or taxi, no shame, no in that yeah, you want to do it. And if you can't afford to pay bus fee, remember Father God bless you with 2 feet. Roll out and down, do nothing forget right, keep your pride up. Yeah. Boom. You're not the driver, $1 million car from your half 4-wheel, everything get real. Long as it insure, papers up to date and your AC, your work and your roof not leak. Whether you buy cash one time or you never have all of the money, so you pay down feet. But we want to sing the chorus with me for the last time. Sing the chorus with me. Sing it at your yard, me say don't sell out. Happy no $1 million car. Happy no $1 million car. Me want a roof over me head. No $1 million car. Happy your $1 million. I me not sell out. Happy no $1 million car. Happy no $1 million if me can't afford it. Say keep your $1 million car. I keep your $1 million car. Yeah, la bun up. Keep your $1 million car. She said money pull up. The song done. We not ball money pull up when the song done. We not ball money pull up from earlier. Zine. So yeah, that's one more. That's one more motivation from me, or another motivational message from me. Don't put your heart, you can't reach it. You understand? And that is a lesson that you can apply to all aspects of your life, not just with car. You understand me? I say, ladies, you want a boyfriend, make sure you find a boyfriend that can maintain you. Man, you look at woman, make sure you look at woman who you can maintain. You understand me? I say, don't put your heart where you cannot reach it. You understand me? I say, so don't sell out for $1 million car. More music still, because I entertain will come for entertain. You understand me? I say, give thanks for the flames. Big up on yourself. Alistair Faster. You don't know the thing. I think some water. Hold on, water there. General Star, where's my water? Here it is. Water is important. That's another important piece of motivation. Water is life. Where we go next? All right, cool. Where we go next? Where we go next now? I'm full of song. So right now, let me see if I remember this one. Now, last year, Jada Kingdom did have a song named Long Term, Zane, and I did a challenge, a long-term challenge. I want to see if I remember it a long time. Well, I never sing this yet. This is the first time I go sing it since I record it. Zine, so I go see if I can remember like I sing it for. This one really for the ladies where want a long-term relationship. You understand me? I have a couple questions. Yeah. Fire fool. A deep burns, yeah. Come follow me now. Earlier say you want this long term, but it would seem as though but only banana are your concern. Hey, yeah, me know you want your fruit, but when me want to know is if you're ready to settle and have to want me, you can start a family. Woman, they a road a dime, I don't but a true empress, yes, she's a rare commodity. So me, ya look so mad if you brrr. But I remember that one. I don't remember this one. I do not remember this one. Jano Star. Jano. A long time I sing that song. Fi make mummy and daddy see that a fi me policy. So if you want this long term, girl, you better confirm. Say you're genuine and none my time you're wasting. Cause me no in and no playtime. Come follow me now when me say. And if you want to be me wife, girl, no surprise. when you realize it's a life sentence you're facing. Cause me no eat and no plating. I miss a question, can you cook, can you clean? I'm a king, so me need a queen to build me team and live the dream. And if you feel say you're better than that, take a second, make reality check in. Come follow me, tell me, are you ready to commit to the youth? Yeah, say you want it long term, but do you see me in your future? Or are you just hooked to the D that burns fire full eternally? Come on me now when me say, well, if you want this long term, you better confirm. Say you genuine, no my time you're wasting. Me no in and no plating. And he said, and if you want to be me wife, girl, no surprise when you realize it's a life sentence you're facing. Cause me no in and no plating. Boom. So that was long term, you see? I'm is quite full. A deeper. Come follow me, come follow me, come follow me, come follow me now when me say, hey girl, you say you want this long term, but it would seem as though only banana are your concern. I may say, so if you want this long term, girl, you better confirm. Say you're genuine and I know my time, you're, yeah. So, all right, cool. So I think I go sing one more song. One more song and done. One more song and done. This one is it's unreleased and it's the last song I was gone. Now this one is for Mummy. I'm wanting some flames for the mother. You understand? And even though it's unreleased, I sing this song everywhere I go because in everything I do, the real winner is my mother. You understand? Because everything I do is for her. You understand? Because everything that she did was for me. Zane, so on the final song, I'm wanting to give me some flames for my mother. Zane. And this one is called 9 Months. Final song. And I say, yeah, oh mama, oh mama, yeah. Oh mama, oh mama, yeah. Hey, listen to me. Yes, I remember when I was just a child. There's nothing my mama would not do to make me smile. Years later, now I am a man. Mommy still standing by my side to hold my hands. And so I say, 9 months was never enough for you. Oh, my mama. And so you carried me my whole life through. And so I say, 9 months was never enough for you. Oh, my mama. And so you carried me my whole life through. Yes, I recall when I was growing up, the loving my mama gave to me was more than enough. I'm not a baby. Mommy still a love and care. Mommy prayers are go the same way. That's 9 months was never enough for you. Oh, mama, and so you carry my whole life through. And so say 9 months with some flames for your mother. Never be enough and never be enough for you. Hey, and so you carried me my whole life through. Say, oh mama, with some flames for your mother. Oh mama, oh mama, this one is for mama. Hey, give me some flames for your mother. Hey, oh mama, whoa. So now I talk about the DJ verse now, you see me? Listen to the lyrics. Hey, come follow me now. Hey, mommy, this the one you're coming from your big son. Forever you're the only queen in my kingdom. You never spare the red and quality child. No flick your fling down, make skin bun and make your pitney them come up with wisdom. You did there from the start until everything come. 9 months pass and you're still going strong. The loving that I have for you, it never will done. Promise you the good life. Now go make you live some moment. 9 months was never enough for you. Oh, my mama, and so you carried me my whole life through. And so I say, 9 months was never enough for you. Oh, my mama, and so you carried me my whole life through. And so I say, 9 months was never enough for you. And so you carried me my whole life through. And so I say, 9 months was never enough for you. Oh, my mama. And so you carried me my whole life through. Boom, bang. Fireful. You don't know D Burns. Thanks for having me. You don't know. Respect to mama. She am everything. I know she's everything as well. Thank you so much for having me. You can follow me on Instagram. You can follow me on Twitter at DBurns Music. That is DBURNZMUSIC. Everywhere. Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. What's up the name again? Audio Mac. The next one, SoundCloud, Facebook. Me know we too old for use Facebook. All people think that you understand. So you Facebook, see everywhere. Respect. See the site. I got to know I go on D Burns Music everywhere. See, thank you so much. Have yourselves a fireful evening. Fireful.
So guys, that's basically the end of the session. We went an entire hour over, but it was good. It was good, and I'm so elated. So peace out, guys. We'll talk soon.